What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. I am your host, Sports PSP. Hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic evening coming off work, school, whatever the case may be. Hope everyone is doing well, man, doing big things, a lot of great things to look forward to and everything else, man. I got my man, undisputed world champ in the building. Hopefully we'll get BRF on the show. Sorry, fellas. Just having some technical issues with the echo and all that other stuff. But anyway, hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I got the big fella in the building. We're gonna get undisputed. We're gonna get BRF on the show momentarily. But undisputed world champ, man, how you doing, man?
Glad to be here, brother, man. Glad to see you. Got the Bobby Boucher on, I see, man. Always styling and profiling, man. I see you. I see you shining. I see you shining. And how ironic, you got the orange and the blue on. So, man, that's another good thing to see. So,
Yeah,
man,
because
glad
the
to see.
Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks are shining, man. So, look, New York, y'all one game away, man. Y'all one game away, man. Good to see that. Good to see it.
Before we start off the show, listen, I'm happy for New York as regarding the fans, but champ, in all seriousness, I told you how crazy them people are in New York, man.
Yeah, you told me. I thought you were. I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought you were, for lack of a better term, BSing. I thought you were BSing at first. I'm like, bro, it can't be that bad. But boy, seeing folks in the streets just taking world class butt whoopers in the middle of the street. I'm like, bro, damn,
No,
y'all getting
no,
down
champ
like
is
this?
getting too out of control. There are even people at New York even removing Knicks Spurs jerseys from fans.
Yeah.
They just minding their own business, walking in the middle of the street. And I tried to tell you, champ, and you didn't. You thought I was completely exaggerating. I'm like, no. I don't think you understand. No seriousness, champ. I'm not joking. I'm not joking at all. I don't
Oh
think you
man.
understand or realize the magnitude of the situation, how New Yorkers are. They're crazy. And I tried to tell you just how crazy they are, man. Even Sean Jones, even the JV podcast and other people, they're like, nah, we support New York. We love the Knicks, but we can't condone that. And
No.
you as a fair-minded man, you can't even condone that either.
No, I can't, man. And like I said, I thought you was whistling Dixie at first, man. I thought you was
No,
exaggerating.
no.
Well, the more I'm seeing people get their butt whooped in the middle of the street. They snatch the jerseys off. They corner one of the Spurs fans, and it's getting out of control at a certain point, my man. It's crazy. It is crazy.
And
So
we
it's
got our
just
yeah, it's crazy, man. But of course, we got BRF Sports in the building, man. How you doing, man?
Screw y'all. Screw y'all. Screw you.
oh, he got you too,
Just
did
yes, he did.
That's what you
Just
you
yes.
deserve that. You deserve
Why?
that.
Why?
I heard you talking about me sending Champ to New Orleans Saints toilet paper. I would never send him toilet paper. I sent him a towel. And the reason why I sent him a towel is because I tried to tell him about New York. He's the reason why he's causing all these problems in New York. Hell, even the president came to game 3 of the NBA Finals and ruined the fans in New York. So Champ
The,
Stephon Pryor has a lot to do with what happened in game 3 on Monday night. Game
let me tell you.
four, whoa, whoa.
Whoa. No. I'm putting my 2 cents in on this. For one, I am a Falcons fan, sir. They are the Saints. I have every right to call with you, bro. They are the Saints. I don't give a damn about them. I have every right to call that what I called it. It wasn't a disrespect for you. It was a disrespect for the Saints. Because if there's
You
a group
thought
of
I would
fans
send him
that
toilet paper? Toilet
I'm
paper.
not, when I look at the New Orleans Saints, that's how I view them as, especially their fans. I don't want to say what I want to say on the L, but when I think about the Saints, that's how I view them. I'm not saying they're all bad, but I'm just saying when it comes time, when it's time to worry about them in the regular season, I could
You
care less. I
BRF,
feel, I feel,
BRF, you'd be
huh?
surprised how crazy Cowboys fans are.
I don't give a damn. They delusional. I don't care. The difference between the Cowboys been riding 5 championships since goddamn 1996. Last time they been to the NFC Championship. The New Orleans Saints fans, they get one championship. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we've been there. We knew how it feel like. Bruh, that rings get 5 year ring to get shelf life. I don't give a damn about that ring no more. 5 year shelf life. That's it. I don't care. Thank you.
And that,
You got
and I'm glad that you mentioned about the Saints because that's exactly how the Knicks fans are going to be once they win that championship. Once they win that championship, the first time since 1973, the first time they've been to the finals since 1999, don't be surprised if Knicks fans go absolutely ballistic because they're going to keep on saying, "Yeah, we've been there. Yeah, we've been there." Look, I'm happy for New York in terms of the city. I'm still going to call NYPD blue. I blame Undisputed World Champ for that. The only reason why I care about New York was because of one reason and one reason only. The
D
great,
D.
no, not D, the great, beautiful, sweet, kind, wonderful D. And
he
be,
had to put some more he had to put some more on there.
no,
Explanation.
Yeah,
because
D. Yeah, D's amazing, man.
Yeah.
D must be protected at all times. Hey, shout out to D, by the way. D must be protected at all times.
And by the way, speaking of this sign right here, where I'm gonna hang this up, it's gonna be about as lonely as this A feels, the way they felt when they got their butts whooped by Indiana in that playoff game.
oh, that's
And
okay.
don't forget, we whooped them in the SEC championship too. So
Lonely.
Oh,
Like that
that's
Akon, like that Akon song, Lonely.
BRF. Don't be surprised because guess what? There's one gift expected for Champ tomorrow.
Oh Jesus.
here we go with this again.
But what did you do? I'm glad you talked about that towel, champ. What have you done with that towel?
Oh, it's in my bathroom floor. I just use it to step on it when I get out the shower.
Bam!
Yeah, I use it to step on it
Bam!
when I get out the shower.
See, that's
So,
dedication.
and
That's
then I hang,
dedication
then
to
I
the
hang it right back.
cause.
I put that St. Towels down when I get ready to take my bath, and I get my big old ass out there shower and scrub my little feet on it after I scrubbed and exfoliated my skin.
I
Then I
thought you
let
were
all
gonna
that
wipe.
there water
I
dry
thought you were gonna.
fall
I
off.
thought you were gonna use that towel to wipe your ass and your balls.
And now it's too
That
too
is
much
dedication
ass.
to the cause.
Too much
That's like
ass.
that. That's
So-
like no. I talked about it. That's like that D.L. Hewley joke in the Kings of Comedy. Hey, Dad, your wash rag on the nightstand. Just
But yeah, man. Look, if y'all in New Yorkers, man, this is from your guy from Georgia, man. Look, I know it's been a while since y'all had something. I know that. I get it. I mean, the last time that I people of my generation, the last time they heard about the '73 championship was Crooklyn. Y'all remember the Crooklyn movie, right?
yeah.
That was the last time Jamal wanted to watch the championship, and everybody was like making jokes about it. He was like, "Damn," he knew that was gonna probably be the last time. But New Yorkers, man, look, we know y'all excited, but look, man, I'm the last person to be the class policeman, but settle down, man. Celebrate. Won't need nobody in jail. Won't need nobody hurt. Celebrate, man. We don't need all that, New York, man. We want the thing is everybody want to see y'all win, but not in a fashion where it's just getting too out of control. I mean, I'm loving what I'm seeing from New York, man. I'm loving that the original kings of hip hop are performing at the halftime show. Wu Tang performed, Cardi B performed. The whole New York is out right now. And bro, don't start that shit. Don't start that shit. Because there was no way I was about to go
them
there.
Cardi D's, as Charles
Them
Barkley
Cardi
put it.
B's. But yeah, we was
Somebody need to put a muzzle on that man. That man is to be protected. That man is to be protected at all times. But sometimes we need to put a muzzle on.
Hey, listen, he said it himself on the Dan Patrick show. He wants ESPN to fire him because guess what? He's still gonna collect that cash.
exactly. But it feels
ESPN not
good
gonna
to
fire him
see-
because they know how valuable he is to the network now because he's rating. They're not gonna fire that man.
Exactly. And look, Jared Seinfeld, his face was lit up like a Christmas tree last night. To
Ben
see
Stiller.
all the New Yorkers out there, Carmelo Anthony out there, to see Bernard King, all the old school guys who I grew up on, Allen Houston. And shout out to my father because that was one of his favorite players that ever played for the New York Knicks was Allen Houston. He could fire up some threes and hit game-winning shots. So shout out to Allen Houston, man. Good to see him there. The last connection to that, one of the last connections to their finals team back in 1999. But New York, man, just hear me out for a second. Celebrate. I know this is the first time y'all have had something since '73, but look, celebrate and just chill, man. Won't need none of y'all in the slammer. Won't need none of y'all on the island. I know about the island. We don't need y'all at Rikers. We need y'all to be healthy. Let's celebrate this thing and do it the right way, man. Do it the right way. Do it the right way. Ain't that wrong with celebrating? Do it the right way. You ain't got to kick nobody's behind for wearing the Spurs jersey. This ain't gang warfare. This ain't the Warriors. The Warriors moving. This ain't Michael Jackson's song "Beat It." So let's celebrate and let's do some things, in a meaningful manner, man. So that way it
No
means
pun
something.
intended.
It is not tarnished at a certain point. But
Just,
hey man,
just put the series away.
just put it away.
Just because the hardest game to win in a series is always the clincher.
Yeah.
Just put it
Magic
away.
just said that today.
All
Magic
because
just said that today.
the last thing you want to do is give a team like the San Antonio Spurs just the inkling of confidence.
Hey,
Put the series away.
don't make Wimby put on them shades. If
Um,
Wimby put on them shades, whoo.
but here's the thing, world champion BRF though. The Knicks in elimination games, they haven't been good. They've been phenomenal all throughout the postseason this season. Against your Hawks, against the the Philadelphia 76ers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So who knows? But speaking of the NBA finals, what a game in game 4. What a game, BRF. I mean, you still riding with the Spurs, but I don't know how you feel right now after that game 4 performance because the San Antonio Spurs, they were up 76-49. They were shooting the ball great in the first half, particularly from the 3. Did you know that the Spurs, they were 8 of 30 in the second half of game 4? For
Good
those who may
Lord,
not know, that is a percentage of 20.5%.
that was atrocious, and I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't figure out why they were still taking like those outside low percentage shots. If I got a lead like that with room to play with, I'm attacking the rim at all costs. I'm only taking those shots like that if I get good looks. I'm not just shooting just to shoot. I am breaking their wheel.
That's
2-2,
coaching.
2-2, 2-2 in San Antonio is so much better than 3-1 going back to San Antonio. So much better. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't.
They were
Should
clueless. That's
they
what it comes
were.
down to.
They really
And
were.
to be honest with y'all, I wasn't surprised that the Knicks came back. After all, this is the New York Knicks we were talking about. This is the same team that came back from a 22-point deficit against the Cleveland Cavaliers in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, we can talk about James Harden being a choker in the playoffs. We all know that. We can talk about, as Big Champ mentioned, about Kenny Atkinson with analytics. He said they won the series, but that's a story for another day. But the point is, if you give a team any momentum like New York, they're going to seize the moment. And that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. Jalen Brunson, 36 points, 7 assists. OG Anunoby,
He's
who
the MVP
hit
of the series.
yes. And not only that, he also got New York declared an OG Anunoby Appreciation Day, to which the great after the game, when he hit the game winning bucket, and I think I have a picture of it right here. An incredible moment in that game with just 1.2 seconds left. My thing is, the New York Knicks, man, it's happy to see. It's great to see. I mean, I'm sorry, BRF and Champ. I hate to bring this up, but this to me, this is just as bad, hell, if not worse, than Atlanta. When you had the 25-point lead, I'm sorry, I hate bringing this up, but this was reminiscent because the Spurs had every reason to win that game. They were up. New York, they were struggling in the first half, but then all of a sudden, the threes that they were shooting, and then and then they just lost their edge. Also, give a lot of credit to Jose Alvarado because he came off the bench. He did hit a couple of big threes. Cat with the step back 3. As for San Antonio, De'Aaron Fox, you had to steal. Why would you attempt a layup? And according to you, in that situation, you claimed you could outrun OG Anunoby. Okay, fine. I can understand that because after all, you're the guard. But at the same time, OG Ananobi is 6'7", 240. And he's in your way, preventing you from attempting a shot. All you had to do in that situation was just waste the clock. That way, you can have your 2 free throws. And that way, you could either move the game to overtime or win the game. It's just that simple. And for him to be that clueless in the situation, and look, De'Aaron Fox is one of the veterans for this team. And granted, he hasn't had that much playoff experience because, again, the last time he's been to the playoffs, you got to go back to Sacramento. But in that situation, for him not to be aware of that, that's clueless on his part. I'm sorry. There's no other way. I mean, that was a huge mistake. Wemby late in the game, he could have hit those 2 free throws. After when Josh Hart missed a layup. You just got to give your hearts. You got to give a lot of support to New York. Now, I do think in Game 3, I'm sorry, don't like to play conspiracy theories. It was a certain individual who was at the Garden in Game 3, and I do think he kind of took the energy away from New Yorkers. Hate to say it, champ, but that's just what it is. Because again, we didn't see a lot of energy from the fans. I mean, hell, he even pissed off the fans in Game 3, and then in Game 4, Dolan, as usual, preventing the watch parties. No surprise there. After all, he's the owner of not only the Knicks but also Madison Square Garden. So unfortunately, he has that right. But in the end, man, this was more New York Knicks than bad San Antonio, because the New York Knicks just find ways to win. That's just who they are. We've seen them do this before in the finals when they came back 14 in Game 1 against San Antonio. I just mentioned in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, they came back from a 22-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Somehow, some way, the New York Knicks find ways to win. They just find ways to win. Are they the most flashy, spectacular team in the world? No, but they have a lot of heart. With Jalen Brunson, with Carl Anthony Towns. Actually, it means a lot with Cat because Cat, throughout his career, he was known for being soft during his time in Minnesota. But so far, he's shut the critics up.
Yeah.
Kel Bridges has been playing solid. Jose Alvarado, what he brings as far as energy and defense. And also another thing we have to take into consideration. Do we now owe Mike Brown an apology? Because again, when the New York Knicks was trailing 2-1 in that series, we kept thinking, did they make the mistake letting go of Thibodeau? Well, Mike Brown is making the right types of adjustments.
Yeah. You know
Whoever
what?
wants to go, BRF or champ.
You know what? I'll
Champion.
go first. I have to go first on this. Number one, this is the NBA. I get so tired of people bringing up 28-3. That's number one. Because the thing is, there's so many examples in the NBA finals that we can bring up with blowing big leads. Remember game 1, 1995, Houston versus Orlando? The Orlando Magic gave up a 20-point lead. Remember, Akeem Olajuwon, when they went into the locker room, he was despondent. He was like, damn, how did we win? We was just down by 20. And then going into the fourth quarter, the Orlando Magic had a good lead as well. There's always this narrative, and it's like history repeating itself in the NBA, much like it did in the NFL. These are not your grandpa's Spurs. These are not our Spurs growing up. And unfortunately, Greg Popovich is not the coach. He is an advisor to the coach. You can best believe he's coaching these guys behind the scenes, but he's not the coach every single day. He's not in practicing these guys every single day. It's a whole new regime. There's a common thing with a lot of young teams. They always make big mistakes in the biggest moments. We can go all the way back to Nick Anderson in 1995 with the Orlando Magic with them 4 straight free throws when he missed them. If you want to go ahead and go recently, you can go all the way up to Dwight Howard, him doing the same thing against my Los Angeles Lakers, him missing 4 straight free throws. Then if you want to go a little bit more recent, Now you get to OKC 2012, getting into foul trouble in game 3. Westbrook making the ill-advised foul in game 4 when he's only down by 2.
Not just that,
Now,
also James Harden struggling throughout that finals as well.
yes, indeed. And then now, De'Aaron Fox making an ill-advised decision. There's always a common denominator in those young teams. They're very, very young. They're not very, very
They
knowledgeable. And
well,
the
they're not
moment is a little
experienced,
bit too,
champ.
but in a lot of moments are just too big for them. There's another common denominator with all of those young teams that I just named. You know what that is? The Orlando Magic, the 95 Orlando Magic, the 2008 Orlando Magic, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Y'all want to know what happened to those 3 teams?
All of them lost in the finals.
All of them lost in the finals, and their coach was fired within 2 years of them losing the finals. Right after they lost a big free agent. Never fails. Happens every single time. Young team goes to the finals. 2 years later, coach is fired. They lose a big-time guy to free agency. It never fails. So look for one of these Spurs who is on these teams. It's not going to be Wemby. They're not going to let Wemby go.
Neither is Stephon Castle or the rest of the team, but
yeah.
you also forgot one other team, champ, that's
Yeah.
young. That may not be as young as that roster. Boston.
Yeah, Boston.
You know,
But
in
like I said-
2022, when they lost to Golden State, because guess what happened? They ended up moving on from Ime Udoka to Joe Mazzulla, even though
Yeah.
it was different circumstances.
Yeah, but
another reason,
the coach got fired. So
right, and another reason why, champ, I picked New York in that series because I told you, youth and inexperience. This is the first time the Spurs, they haven't been to the finals or in the postseason in a while. You talking about Dylan Harper, who's 20. Stephon Castle's, 21, 22 years old. Wemby's 22. This is the second youngest roster to at least advance to an NBA Finals. So with this New York Knicks team, they're prone to make mistakes. We know how talented they are. What they can, as BRF mentioned with the defense, they can go 10-12. But at the end of the day, champ, with San Antonio, and you've mentioned before, they're still going to be the team in the years to come. But in this series, New York has their number.
New York has their number. And like I stated, all those teams have something in common. Their coaches get fired, and they always lose a major free agent shortly after that. They all are fired within 2 years of them in that finals. Don't believe me? Go back and look at it. Brian Hill got fired 2 years after the Orlando Magic went to the finals. Stan Van Gundy got fired within 2 years of them going to the finals.
3 years.
3 years, excuse me. Let's fast forward. OKC, Scott Brooks went to the finals with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He got fired.
For Billy Donovan.
So Billy Donovan. So all of those teams have a lot of common denominators, and they always lose a big-time free agent, and the coach always gets fired. So, and I know people are going to say, well, this is the Spurs, this is a first-class organization. We said the same thing about the Patriots earlier in football season. This is the new dynasty. This is the new, the similarities are parallel. You have a real one organization with a new regime, new coach, the Patriot way, the Spurs way, and you have the prototypical guy, that being Wemby for the Spurs and that being Drake May for the Patriots, running the show. Both were MVP candidates. Both had new coaches. Both were facing teams that had not won a Super Bowl in a very, very long time, or championship, in a very, very long time in the case of the Knicks. Guess what? Veteran experience takes over. Because this is not your grandpa's Spurs. And like I stated, when it's with youth, you can always count on careless mistakes. It doesn't surprise me that they gave up a big lead. If you look at the course of the NBA Finals, when you have very, very young teams, they always give up big leads. Like I say, the Orlando Magic, 1995, Shaq and Penny, 20-point lead against Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. 20-point lead. Up until this point, That was the biggest lead ever blown. People always talk about 28-3. You have a 20-point lead and you got Shaq on your team, that damn game is good as won because nobody's stopping him. But when you think about that 99 final, that 95 finals with Elijah Wan versus Shaq, it is parallel to this finals right here. Because guess what? Young team, young mistakes, not capitalizing at the right moments. And the thing is, you look at Nick Anderson and them free throws, and then you look at De'Aaron Fox and that ill-advised shot. Only thing he had to do was run the damn clock out, make him foul. That's it. Look at Westbrook when he made that foul against Mario Chalmers back in 2012. Made that ill-advised foul. So, yeah, it's always these young mistakes that stop these very, very young teams. And those teams, slowly but surely, start breaking up and the coach get fired. Go back and read history. You don't have to take my word for it. The history's there. You can learn, in the great words of the great Jim Cornette, you can learn more from the past than you ever can from the future.
Because history will always repeat itself.
Always repeats itself. It never fails. Young team makes it to the finals, lose the finals, blows a big lead. 2 to 3 years later, coach is fired. Major free agent gone. Curtains.
But Big Philly, here's the thing, though. I do think that this Atlanta Super Bowl does pair an analogy because, first of all, nobody's going to remember, as you mentioned, with the 95 finals or the other finals that you've mentioned. For a team like San Antonio, regardless of youth, they know what they were supposed to do. And unfortunately, they couldn't capitalize on that situation. It's like with Atlanta. I hate bringing it up because of y'all. All they had to do in that game when they had a 25-point lead, run the football more with Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman was no scrub now. He made Pro Bowls during his time with the Atlanta Falcons. He was good, averaging over 4 yards a carry, and we know what he could do as far as catching the football. No one is saying run the football every single play, but at the same time, play to your strength. If you're not playing to your strength, which is balancing the offense, then eventually it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And look, my thing is with San Antonio, with this young head coach, I don't believe he's going to be let go because obviously he comes from the Popovich coaching tree. And I think San Antonio has high regard for him. But for that young coach, if you know that this is not working out the way you imagine, try to come up with something else. The last thing you would want to do is give any team like New York any momentum because we know what Jalen Brunson is capable of. OG is capable of. And in that last possession with 5 seconds left, why would you have Wemby out on the perimeter? You know Wemby is dominant when he's in the paint. When you take him away from the paint, particularly on defense, the Spurs are not that good. When he's out, when he's not in the paint as much, when he's in the perimeter, yes, I understand it's Jalen Brunson. But the other thing, champ, that we're not paying enough attention to, I think that Dylan Harper, they're not using him enough. I think he is being underutilized because there have been opportunities. Dylan Harper has shown you some flashes of some good moments. And I feel like, regardless if he's young, get him going. It's kind of reminiscent to me with, you remember the Last Dance documentary when they decided to put Craig Elo on Michael Jordan for the game-winning shot as opposed to Ron Harper? And remember what Ron Harper said right after that.
F this stuff.
Don't you think Dylan Harper kind of feels the exact way? Because I feel like for San Antonio, he's giving you a good enough reason to win that game. Champ, it's no surprise that a young team is prone to make mistakes with San Antonio. No matter how talented, how deep they are, first time they've been in this magnitude before, rookie mistake. They're going to make mistakes. You got a young roster. Dylan Harper, a rookie. Stephon Castle in his second year. Wemby in his third year. I still believe San Antonio has a bright young future to look ahead with. BRF, I don't want to take too much of your time because I know I want you to dive in.
Well, no, you're good. No, you're good, man. No, I'm always gonna let my guys like finish up. You know what they
No,
got to say. I'm
actually,
always
you
gonna
know
let y'all
what? The
finish.
floor is no, the floor is yours. I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Well, the analogy is there with 28-3. I mean, the analogy is there. I mean, but I guess as a Falcons fan, with it being like 10 years now, 10 years this year, or going on 10 years since it's happened, I guess it's like we know it's there, and we know it's going to impact us, and we know it's going to be there until hopefully one day they can get over the hump and finally win it. So we know it's going to be there. So we know it's going to be that black cloud. So everybody's always going to come back to that when there's like a big when there's a big letdown like what San Antonio had, the other night. It's yeah. I mean, I do think it's more New York. I mean, it's like there's one of those they're one of those teams, when their backs against the wall and they're facing adversity, they tend to click and they tend to lock in, and then they just start executing the way they know how to execute. I mean, whether it's hitting their threes or boxing out properly, getting rebounds, just kind of dictating the tempo of the game. It's almost like they kind of have this sixth sense of knowing when to turn it on when it's time to get going. And about a team like the Knicks, like I said, they've faced big deficits multiple times, and they've just been able to really kind of settle in, kind of get back into the flow of the game, and they're able to get back into it. And in multiple cases, they've won the game. Like the reason why I rode with San Antonio, I just liked, even though New York was a really good matchup for them in terms of like Karl Anthony Towns with his size against Wemby, even though Wemby has about like 5 inches of height on him. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns kind of neutralizes that with his body and his size and his strength. I think was really doing it for me with New York, even though San Antonio does have the size, the athleticism and the ability to run from baseline to baseline to baseline with the best of them. I think with New York, it's the size, with OG size, with the height, OG's height, and Mikal Bridges' height, Josh Hart's height. I mean, even though you're not going to have the height advantage with Cat and Wemby, they have it kind of with everybody else outside of Brunson, and they're able to kind of like they can they're kind of able to neutralize the athleticism of the Spurs being athletic in their own right, but also having some height, being able to kind of when San Antonio wants to attack, they're able to kind of play up on them, get their hands up, block a shot here and there, alter a pass here and there. They're able to do that with their height and their length and whatever. They're able to alter certain plays that the Spurs are trying to make. I just I look yeah like I think in the NBA I do think there have been too many cases of big leads being blown, and I get we might not remember certain things, but they're still there. And there are too many points of seeing big leads blown from the standpoint of like it's happened before. So even though this is like the biggest lead ever, it's like, hey, this ain't the first time this has happened. A team losing the 20-point lead like that. I still think what separates the Falcons Super Bowl is how extremely rare that is. Normally,
That
a
doesn't
team goes.
happen.
That does not happen. A team goes up like that in the Super Bowl. You might as well get the Lombardi Trophy ready, get the champagne ready, go ahead and tell the folks in the back, get the floats ready and all that stuff, get everything set up because this game's over. It never happens in the Super Bowl. So it's the rarity of the Falcons to me, which is why it stands out so much. And it's crazy
Especially with that
because
offense.
exactly the 2016 offense, the seventh highest scoring offense in the history of the league, puts up 28 like it's effortless, and you couldn't put up another point for the rest of the game. You score one field goal, it's over. Because even Tom Brady's not coming back from 31 to 20 with as little time as was left on the clock, or what little time would have been left on the clock after Julio made one of the greatest Super Bowl catches in the history of the game, but it's not going to be recognized because they didn't win. You score that field goal 31 to 20, you're probably looking at the most 40, 45 seconds.
I think
Tom Brady,
I
Tom
think
Brady
what
ain't
hurt
coming
them
back
the
from that.
most. I think what hurt them the most was that sack.
Oh
Because
yeah,
when,
the high tower sack where Freeman missed the block. Oh, that clearly, I feel like that clearly hurt them because that was you could tell that was the ultimate momentum swing where you just kind of had a feeling like, yeah, we kind of had a feeling like, yeah, we're about to lose this game. Because Devontae Freeman had proven up to that point to be one of the better pass protecting running backs in the league. So it was kind of shocking that he whiffed on a block that easily. But I mean, hey, at the end of the day, hey, it is what it is. And as Falcons fans, it's something we got to live with. But going back to this finals game, I just think even though because Nick fans are already getting the epitaph ready, they're already writing it out for the Spurs, saying it's over. One thing San Antonio seems to do when their backs are against the wall, especially in a situation when they're at home, they turn up. So it's not over yet. And for some reason, I feel like San Antonio can still get this to 7 games because of how they play. They just got to execute. It's hard for me to trust it. It's hard for me to trust it now. I don't know where their mind at. It's one thing to be great athletically and physically and all that other stuff. It's great to have that. Where's your mind at this point? Where's your mental? Because a game like last night sinks the best of like that. It sinks the best of them. Blowing a 27-point lead like that, 29 at one
That's the
point.
demoralizing.
That's
That's the
exact,
demoralizing.
exactly. That's the demoralizing factor of the entire situation. You can have it physically. You know you got it physically. Can you come back from it mentally? Can you put that kind of a loss to the side to come back and play a game 5 on your home floor, biggest situation of your careers of your lives up to this point? That's going to say a lot about the San Antonio Spurs. If they could come back, even if they don't win game 5, if it's like a game of the year candidate, that's going to tell me a lot as far as like what the Spurs are going to be in the future. Because I mean, I've seen some memes and some stuff as far as like it's silly, like comparing like Wemby's first finals to LeBron's first finals, and how some people are like, they're trying to say LeBron didn't get a pass for his first finals, which is like the biggest lie you can tell, because I think the only finals Bron got a pass for was the first one being his first one, because
No, the first
anybody
one clearly he got a pass for that first one. That
nobody
second
picked
one
yeah.
against
Yeah, nobody
Dallas,
picked the Cavs in order to do that.
Nobody picked the Cleveland Cavaliers to beat
they
the peak dynastic San Antonio Spurs.
I could
No,
no one was anticipating Cleveland to win that series or even
no.
win one game.
Win a
They had
game. Exactly.
Zojunas
Exactly.
Ilgauskas, Damon Jones, Anderson Varejao, Boobie Gibson. But again, I just think with San Antonio, to your point, BRF, you don't want to necessarily say it's over because they have a game 5 in San Antonio. But my thing is, and they feel confident. And again, one of the people we're going to talk about is Cat Williams.
Mm,
The best quote he said was, "To be confident and not delusional is a real skill." It's always important to have confidence in yourself, because if you don't have confidence in yourself, who's going to have confidence for you? But at the
facts.
same time, you don't want to be delusional to the point where you go crazy, out of control. Jerry Jones. But that's a story for another day. But
Everybody getting strays.
here's my thing, BRF. I think San Antonio, if Dylan Harper's giving you any spark or energy, keep him on the court.
I agree. I agree with that. They are under. From what I've seen in the games, he is not getting the minutes he should be, because I feel like over the entire series, he's been playing better than De'Aaron Fox. I would start him over De'Aaron Fox, quite honestly, in Game 5. I really would, just to find some type of spark, because he's been shooting better. He's definitely got the youthful exuberance on his side, his ability to play defense, his ability to attack the rim. I would honestly consider starting Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper beside each other, just to find some type of spark. And you're gonna need it against the Knicks, because yeah, okay, this is a road game 5 for them. We've seen what they've done in road elimination games. They destroy people.
Yes.
They destroy people. They have to find the spark to neutralize that, because the Knicks have shown in road elimination games, the minute you give that first inch you take them, they stretch that mile into a marathon, and
And
you
you
have
know how
no.
them fans in New York, they're going to overcrowd the arenas
Oh
because
my,
we've seen that.
exactly. We've seen it time and time again. One thing Knicks fans do, especially in big time situations, they travel with their team. They're going to try to find a way to make that as close to a 50-50 or a home game as they're possibly going to be able to, in San Antonio. And San Antonio has been regularly one of the more hostile places to play in the NBA. Let me tell you something. If the Knicks
Yes.
come into San Antonio and they take that over, that's a whole different atmosphere and a whole different ball game. San Antonio's got to shut that down early and on their home floor. And that's crazy. We're saying that about the San Antonio Spurs. But the Knicks just, there's a different energy about them this season. Like going in the playoffs, they're just a different energy. It's like they're almost it's like they're destined to do this.
Well,
It's
they
really
are.
like they're destined to do this.
Well, the goal for them was to get to the finals. I don't think anyone anticipated them to win the finals. I truly believe had they faced OKC, they would have a much tougher chance because of the scoring, the experience.
See, I
But I
don't.
think,
I don't. I think the matchup with OKC would have been even better, to be honest with you.
but also too, let's not forget the fact that Jalen Williams with the hamstring injury was also hurting Oklahoma City. Not only that, losing AJ Mitchell, and by the way, Chet Holmgren got torched by Wemby throughout the series. No shame though, because again, it was Wemby. But at the same time, you were drafted with the number 2 overall pick. You're 7-1 as well. We expected you to do some things.
Chet
And
7'3".
I thought he was 7-1, but
I think Chet, he's 7'2" or 7'3" He's a bit of a unicorn himself.
either way, he's still 7 feet tall
Yeah.
plus. But the fact of the matter is, everyone remembers you scoring 4 points in that game. And you weren't that
4.
much of a factor in that series.
4 points and 4 rebounds.
Hell, Champ would have done a better job with his diet than Chet in that game 7.
Scored 4 more points than us, and we sitting on the damn couch.
But my thing is, BRF, I know you still rolling with the Spurs in this one, but
it's hard for me to trust. It's hard for me to trust them though. I got to see
But
where they're at the game. It's the mental.
Are you still rolling with them though?
I'll say this: if the Spurs get Game 5, it will go 7.
I will say this though: if they win Game 5, how are they going to handle Game 6? And God forbid, if the Knicks lose Game 6.
You got to go back to the Alamo.
You got to go back to the Alamo for 7. All the momentum you built is gone.
And you know who's going to be enjoying it the most?
Skip Bayless.
No,
Nah, he gonna
Charles
be one
Barkley.
of them. Charles
because
Barkley.
of them big old
San
women and them
Antonio women.
churros in San Antonio.
Them San Antonio women in them churros.
Come on, Chad. They got some beautiful women in San Antonio.
Yes, I must go there. You can edit that out. My bad. You can edit that out. But yeah, I must go. But look, hey, New York,
everything
close
must go.
But New York,
go
hey,
out, close it out.
New York, handle this series. Because if you thought what happened in Game 3 was crazy, imagine what could happen. Y'all better close this series.
They better.
Even though we've seen what you've done in elimination games against the Hawks, the 76ers, and the Cavaliers. Y'all don't close this one in Game 5. Now, you can look at it and say, well, Game 6 at the Garden. I understand all of that. But you better handle business in Game 5. Don't take your foot off the gas pedal.
And to bring up a quick point, like we've been talking about, like if you're gonna get one, New York, you better get one because the East as a whole is coming with some of these teams and how they're building. Be on the lookout in the next week or so. We might be getting one of the biggest trades we've seen in the NBA in a long time.
The Giannis sweepstakes.
Yeah, they're saying Milwaukee and Boston might be close to getting this done. They want to send Jaylen Brown to a third team. Watch that team be Atlanta. I'm just saying.
Hey, listen.
If he goes to Atlanta with him and Jalen Johnson, that is going to be crazy.
And
that is going to be crazy.
I think for Atlanta, they got to get some more shooters around, particularly on the perimeter, because again, Dyson Daniels, who I like a lot, but still needs some more work. But I will say this though, champ, if Jalen Brunson gets traded to Milwaukee, and if he has another season like he had this season, he has to be at least in the MVP combos. Not saying it's going to happen.
Well, now the way the trade would go, Giannis would go to Boston. Jaylen Brown would go to the third team. He wouldn't go to Milwaukee. He would go to the third team.
Well, who would he go to if it were the third team?
It's probably going to end up being Atlanta Hawks. They're saying Atlanta and New Orleans are the most interested right now. Atlanta's got way more to give Boston than the
Oh,
New
Atlanta.
Orleans
Oh, he would
Pelicans right
love
now.
Atlanta. He would
But I
love
mean
Atlanta.
but Atlanta
No,
makes the most sense in terms of trade capital. They got more to give Boston. They got more to give Boston anyway. They got 8. They got 23. They got Risa Shea. They got Jonathan Kuminga's contract. They got Kispert's contract. They got more than they can unload.
They're gonna probably take the draft picks more likely than not because
right.
they, Boston loves to build, and they're probably not gonna they were like, hey, we ain't gonna take too many shots with these young players. We're gonna just see what we can do at the draft or the stable or the salary cap. So I would love to see Jalen Johnson and Jalen Brown, the Jalen brothers. I already got a nickname for them, the Jalen brothers in Atlanta. And and look, you thought if that happens, you thought Atlanta was hype as hell when Angel Reese came to town. Woo-hoo!
A, li-
That,
a,
that,
li- a lineup
And
a lineup
and
of
by the
Okongwu.
way, he is a native of Georgia. For those
Yes,
who
he
may
is.
not know, Jalen Brown.
He's a
And
native.
besides, you talk about how he is in terms of smart and intelligence. What better way than black excellence down in ATL?
yeah, you round Andrew Young, all that history down there in the South. I mean, look, if that happens, the town is gonna be on fire, especially if we could keep most of the pieces of this young core that we have. That
Yeah,
is gonna
like
be amazing.
a,
Plus,
a
hockey's coming back
lineup.
to town.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a lineup potentially of Okongwu, Jalen Johnson, and then any combination of Nikhil Alexander Walker, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Brown you can get. That's defense on defense on defense on defense.
I think it's going to be good, man. But heck of a series. Again, New York, you got one more game to win the series. San Antonio, I don't know how you're going to do it. Of course, you're going to have a lot of confidence and faith, but try to limit the mistakes, man. But and also again with the fans in New York, listen, I'm not trying to say don't celebrate, don't have a good time, don't cherish a great moment, but at the same time, it is unacceptable to attack people for no reason
Facts.
whatsoever just because they're
Facts.
wearing the opposing jersey or to damage property. And at the same time celebrate, cherish this moment, but at the same time be rational. Last thing we want to hear is tragedies.
yeah.
So that's all I'm going to leave it on for that. But fellas, let's get back to that pigskin because only 3 more months away
Boy,
from the football season.
boy, I'm hyped. I'm excited.
Patrick Mahomes, big fella, what are your thoughts about that new $504 million contract for Patrick Mahomes? It's not a surprise to me, big fella, because look, I think for Mahomes, he should sit for the next 2 or 3 games for the upcoming season. But you got to admit, big fella, you had your skepticism with Kansas City, but they've had an impressive offseason. Adding in Kenneth Walker Jr., getting in the draft picks. They traded, of course, for Trent McDuffie. They traded one of their offensive linemen to y'all Atlanta Falcons.
Yep. That was a good
So
trade by Atlanta. Get some depth.
Wanye Morris was a good trade.
That was
I
a good trade.
I think for Kansas City, they should improve this season because there's nowhere to go but up after suffering 6-11. Do I have them contending this upcoming season? Though I can see them making the playoffs, at least a wild card at best. I still think Denver is the team in the AFC West, but I wouldn't necessarily rule or discount out Kansas City. I have no problem with Mahomes receiving the deal because of what he's meant to Kansas City. And again, they can try to rework that contract. He loves it there. He means a huge part to Kansas City and the organization. I just think moving forward, they should just try to do what they can to surround him with the offensive linemen if you want to maximize the next 10 years left of him in Kansas City. Um, and again, champ, I wouldn't rule out or discount the GOAT conversation. Again, I want to emphasize it to champ. I am not saying that he is the GOAT. That's not the argument that I'm making. But I can't rule out a possibility that is a chance for him. After all, he's 30. He'll be 31 in September. I'm not saying there is a chance to say he's better than Brady. Not just yet. There's still plenty of time in his career. I'm not saying right now he's better than Brady. No. If I had to start quarterbacks in my top five, Mount Rushmore, Brady, Montana, Mahomes, Peyton, and Rodgers. Those are my top five. But I do think for Kansas City, I like the direction that they are going. Um, like you always say, quarterback cannot throw on his back. When you
Yes.
surround him with the when you surround a QB with the offensive line, especially with Mahomes' caliber, that should be all right. I do like the addition of Kenneth Walker. I do love the fact that Eric Bieniemy is back as the offensive coordinator. I think he'll never get another opportunity as a head coach. He'll never get one. But I do think he needs a rejuvenation. And what better way to reunite with your former team in Kansas City, especially with that guy in Andy Reid? It's going to be tough to see how Kansas City is going to be without Rasheed Rice because, unfortunately, the situation. Hopefully, I hope he doesn't put himself in any more trouble. He doesn't put himself in any more predicaments, but only time will tell. Big fella. Well, actually, I'll let BRF go on this one. What are your thoughts about the Mahomes 500 or $504 million contract?
I mean, when you look at it from the Kansas City Chiefs perspective, I mean, you have no reason you have no reason to not lock him to go ahead and lock him up. Granted, he missed last season with an injury, but I mean, he's your guy. He's your franchise guy. You're gonna want him to retire in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. There's no reason to go ahead and lock him up. So this was mainly like a bit. This is kind of like a restructure almost in a way. But I mean, honestly, when you think about it, the $500 million one he signed a couple of years ago, and then this is like the highest value contract ever because this is 504. So, but I mean, they needed to go ahead and do it because you owe it to Mahomes. I mean, this man, like you could arguably say top three quarterback peak in the history of the game. Like that whole stretch, like the three titles, the two MVPs, the Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, you can make a legit claim that's a top three quarterback peak ever. That first kind of that 2018 to 24 run before he got hurt last year. Um, so you owe it to him what he's meant for that franchise, helping you win championships, helping you be at the top of the sport for the better part of 7-8 years. So you owe him that much to give him that contract. Um, it's only just another light in what's been a pretty good offseason for them. Like you said, you brought up the Kenneth Walker signing. Shocked the heck. It kind of shocked me a little bit, but honestly, it made a lot of sense. Because it gives you even more balance in that backfield. His ability as a pure runner, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. It gives you
Mhm.
something. It gives you something you really haven't had in a while in terms of high level play on both ends of that being a running back. So Kenneth Walker, he gives you a beast back there you haven't had really since Pete Kareem Hunt. So I mean, it's a different animal back there having somebody like Kenneth Walker. And then
I
the
think
draft.
Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt, as far as receiving running back, he's 5, 10 times better than the receiving running back than Kenneth Walker. Because if you look at Kareem Hunt, he can run like certain plays, like them routes. Remember that first game against New England Patriots on Thursday night in the season opener?
Oh, he can run. Oh, he can as a running back. Kareem Hunt as at his peak could run the route tree at his
Yes, he
peak.
could.
So he's definitely so on the receiving end, he's definitely better than K Dub. But I like what he's going to bring in that aspect. Yeah, he's not as good as Kareem Hunt, but he's as good as they've had in a while being able to receive out the backfield.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I love watching Kenneth Walker run because he's hard to bring down. You can almost never bring him down with the first dude because he's because he's looking for contact. But then at the same time, he's one of the shiftier guys in the league. He can make you miss. So he's that all around back that I mean, Isaiah Pacheco was good for them. Don't get me wrong, but he's the all around back that they really, really missed and they really, really needed. So shout out to Kansas City for getting that done. And another thing I like that they did was the draft, particularly building that defense. I mean, you lose Jalen Watson, you lose Trent McDuffie, but it's bringing in the pass rushes you did, bringing in particularly like a Peter Woods because you got him done signed the other day. I think his value in the 20s getting drafted because I know some people were projecting him as a higher pick. I think his value at 23 is going to be felt, and I think it's way better than if he would have got drafted, in the 8 to 15 range, because I don't think he was that high. But getting someone like him in the 20 was a great pick because he's still a first round talent. His ability to be able to rush the passer out of the three technique, his ability to play the run as a three technique coming out of Clemson. I mean, one thing Clemson's going to do is produce good defensive tackles. That's what they're going to do. Whether it's Dexter Lawrence, whether it's Grady Jarrett, whether it's Christian Wilkins, that's what they do. That's
Their
what they've been
defensive
doing.
tackle you.
They are DTU, and there is no they are the best university right now producing defensive tackles, especially three techniques.
Yes.
They just had it like that right now. They just have. So it will not shock me at all if Peter Woods just comes in and makes an immediate impact. It won't shock me at all. And I like what they did on the pass rusher side, improving that front seven in the draft. So I'm looking at Kansas City right now with the deals that they're getting done and the progress that they're making. could I mean, at one point I was thinking, oh, there's no way they're gonna really contend for even a wild card spot. Now I see what they're doing, and I'm like, they might not make the playoffs. They're more on the borderline now than I think they were pre-NFL draft. It's one of those where it's like a break here, a break there, 9-8ish, maybe get you to seventh, maybe get you a seventh spot. I mean, I think with the AFC being as wide open as it is, it's hard to really write off anybody outside of maybe outside of, I guess, the Raiders, the Jets, the usual suspects in the AFC. So when I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, I need some stability. I need a little bit of consistency until Pat Mahomes gets back and he's 100%. Because we know what he can do when he's completely healthy and he's 100%. And it's going to take time for him when he gets back on the field. So for me, this year for Kansas City should be one of those we work hard, we play hard. We see if we can luck up and get a playoff spot. Either way, we miss the playoffs, we're in a good spot next year. We get a decent draft pick. We maybe add to the defense again, or we get Patrick Mahomes, another playmaker. They're probably going to aim to get him another playmaker next year because the way the defensive draft was this year, that offensive draft next year looking nasty.
Especially with the wide receivers.
Especially at the wide receiver position. It's looking nasty. So if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, you're kind of in a really good spot. So just kind of see how it plays out. But I definitely like what they did in the offseason. And they needed to lock Mahomes up. He's going to retire in Kansas City. You need to just go ahead and put your best foot forward, put your flag in the ground and say, you're our guy. You're going to retire here. And that's it.
All right, before I let the big fella go, this is the breakdown of the historic extension and WeWork agreement includes the following key financial details. I'm reading it from Google. Total contract value $504.75 million across the newly adjusted term. New money $239.05 million of the total represents entirely, quote, new money tacked onto the back end of his previous deal. Annual average value $63.09 million over the life of the agreement, jumping to $64 million annually in new money starting in 2027. Guarantees. The deal features $150.25 million fully guaranteed at signing, with merchandising based stipulations ultimately securing all $504.75 million and incentives. Mahomes can unlock an additional $1.25 million per year for a Super Bowl victory and another $1.25 million for securing NFL MVP honors while making an AFC Championship game appearance. So, man, that's good money. And
That's bank.
We knew that Mahomes was going to be taken care of because, after all, what he means to the organization, what he means to Kansas City, and heck, him and Brittany Mahomes and the family, they're going to have to look for a new house in Kansas because, again, in the years to come, they're going to move from Kansas City, Missouri, to all the way down in Kansas.
It's only 15 minutes away.
Still, but they got to look for some houses in Kansas, though. So
Yeah, it's only 15 minutes away from that stadium. It's not like they only moving to Kansas City, Kansas, and it's like Phoenix City is to Columbus. Yeah, you go right across. It's right across the bridge.
mhm.
It's just it's
But
that.
big fella, the floor is yours.
Hey, hey Patrick, your boy alone. You don't mind? That's $60,000. I get it back. I'm just joking,
What
but
you gonna use it? What you gonna use it for Magic City?
nah, I'm gonna use it for my weight loss program. Hire me a trainer. You know, try to get in shape. That's what I do with it. 60,000. You know, hire me a trainer. Make sure I got my meal prep plan done and stuff like that. Use it for my health. Get my health together. That's about it. Give my mom a couple grand. That's about it. Get my health together.
I believe the mama part. I ain't believing in the woman part.
No,
The
I wouldn't. No,
ladies love the big fella. Let's not lie.
you talking too loud. Man. You talking too loud. You know, but but let's but
Mm.
I gotta say this, man. You're getting paid for the things that you have done and the things that you hoping that they're gonna do for that you're gonna do in the future. Now, the biggest question that I have about this is Andy Reid going to be there for this entire contract? It's the biggest question that I have. Andy Reid is getting up there in age, so that's my biggest question: is he gonna be there for the duration of the contract? Because if he's going to be there, okay. If he's not, I have a little bit of concern there, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I think it's a good contract. You've earned it. You've won the Super Bowls. You've earned your keep. You've won the MVP. You putting this franchise on your back that didn't have anything since Lynn Dawson back in the 60s. They went through all of that heartbreak in the 90s where they were one of the winningest team in the 90s, but couldn't get over the hump with Derek Thomas and Neil Smith. Neil Smith finally leaves and then goes to a Super Bowl with none other than the Denver Broncos. And you had that high-powered offense in the early 2000s with Priest Holmes, Trent Green, Larry Johnson and company, Tony Gonzalez.
Dante Hall.
Yeah, you still couldn't win nothing. Now you're able to win something. So this is just your additional reward on top of the big old contract that you got initially. That's another big reward. So I agree with that. And look, Kansas, Mr. Hunt, especially you, Gracie. You know what I'm saying? Especially you, Gracie. Do not put. You don't like Gracie?
No, I was afraid. No, I do like her, but I was afraid you're gonna say something crazy.
No, I would not. I don't look. I respect. I'm respectful. You know what I'm
I know
saying?
them eyes of yours, them Sherman Clump eyes of yours. I'm afraid you may say something crazy.
No, I'm not gonna say, hey man, look, I might be outrageous, but I don't say nothing outrageous to the ladies. You know what I'm saying? They know me. I'm never gonna say nothing outrageous to the ladies, man. Gotta treat them with care, handle them like care. You can get more with sugar than you ever can with salt. But you know,
Just like candy.
yeah. But Gracie, Mr. Hunt, do not rush him back.
Thank you.
Do not rush him back. If it take 4 games, so be it. If it take half the season, so be it. Do not rush him back. And if you got to sit his ass down, look, if I was an NFL owner, or I don't like that word. If I was an NFL governor, here's what it would be. You either sit your ass down, I'm going to sit you down. Because at the end of the day, you are an investment. You are a high quality employee to this company that we call an NFL organization. So you're going to sit down one way or another. Because guess what?
Agreed.
You are not going to get yourself in more injury trouble and it ends your career. Now I got to go out here, and the probability of me finding another Patrick Mahomes is like trying to find another Shaq. It's not going to happen.
Or Kobe.
Nor Kobe. Not going to happen. So, look, sit him down. Look, I will have a strong talking to him. Look, I know you want to come back. I know you're anxious to win Super Bowls, but we need to take it slow. I know you're ready to come back. I see you out there on the field. But in the great words of the great John Legend, take it slow. Oh, this time we take it slow. So take it slow when you come back, man, because I don't want you getting in trouble. I don't want your need. I just want you getting in trouble as far as your health is concerned, because you are a big investment to this team, and I would hate to see something happen, but he deserves. Is that a 7 Up?
It's a 7 Up energy drink.
Damn, I ain't seen one of them in a long time.
Hmm.
Wow, that's amazing.
Hmm.
Well, I
Okay.
actually I wanted to go for an Angry Orchard or a margarita, but I'm a PSP, so I'm gonna get on my ass. So I figured, okay, I might as well get me some energy drink because if I'm gonna be on the pod and recording and editing, I might as well give me something refreshing.
You know that they are one of the few companies, soda companies, with a good video game. They had a game called The Spot on Sega. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
no, it was a damn
No,
good
that was
game.
fun. It was
It was a
fun.
damn good game. Unlike Pepsi and Coke, they put out some very lackluster video games. This shit was terrible. But the Spot was a very good video game for Sega Genesis. And what's so funny is they called it the Spot. Like everybody knew that was a 7 Up mascot. Like that's the 7 Up mascot. That ain't no Spot.
Let me tell you something. No, let me tell you something. When I was younger, I played like I had the Genesis and everything. I played little weird video games like that growing up. That game was fun.
Yeah.
I was just shocked you brought that up. That was
Yeah.
fun.
I saw he had a 7 Up, and that just brought back memories, especially with Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee
Hmm.
make 7 Up yours. So
The great Orlando Jones. But
yeah,
yeah,
Dr. Lee.
I don't drink Pepsi or Coca-Cola. I don't drink soda as much like that anymore. If there's only any soda beverages I drink, either ginger ale, Sprite, or 7 Up.
Oh, y'all drink ginger ale up north?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I thought
Sometimes
that was
sometimes I have like stomach bugs here and there, so either
oh.
Canada Dry or something.
Oh, that's a universal black thing. Okay, cool. No, I'm just saying. I thought
No.
I thought that was a southern black
What
thing.
what
I ain't
the
never-
what
I
the
ain't
hell you
never
think
heard
we what the hell you think we drink down all the way in
No,
the
no, no, no,
East
no.
Coast?
I thought that was a southern because look, there's a difference between a southern black thing and a northern black thing.
Mhm.
Northern blacks, they don't eat grits. They eat cream of wheat. They don't eat grits.
I eat grits.
You eat grits?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I especially with them cheese grits.
Okay,
Oh, with
because
them
my
shrimp.
family from the
Come
north,
on
they
catfish.
now,
don't eat grits. They don't even know what the hell grits is.
champ. You got to remember, the boy got Haitian in him.
Okay,
Thank you.
They eat.
okay.
Yes.
Cool. No, the
They
thing is, no, it's
eat.
just
No.
culture because I'm thinking that Southern, us Southerners, the only one that be
big
drinking that
fella.
ginger ale.
For context, before I eat, yes, to BRF's point, Haitians. If there's one thing people in Haiti love to do is throw down. That
Yeah.
is a fact. And not only that, before I moved to Haiti, I live in Miami. You don't
Oh,
think the
okay,
people in
cool.
Miami don't love to throw down?
Exactly.
And there's a lot of
Exactly.
Haitians, and there's a lot of
Exactly. So
Haitians who live down in Miami who
that's what
love
I'm
to throw
saying. So
down.
he got he got a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, I get
He
it
got
now.
that southern
But the
culture
thing
in
is,
him.
like
So
I said,
hey,
like I
we
said,
travel well.
yeah, I'm
I
not.
know you
Look,
call.
I'm
I know
from
you called me
Georgia,
the New Jersey genius for a reason
and
because I lived
the
in
thing
Jersey
is,
for 20 years, and even people in New Jersey they throw down. If you go to areas like in East
yeah,
Irvington, a lot of Haitians live around them areas, and there's some good Jamaican, good Caribbean food, Haitian food. That's good, man. You
okay.
won't get no better food than the hood, man.
You know what? That's the thing. Yeah, I like that, man, because like I said, I thought that ginger ale and drinking ginger ale, E&J and ginger ale, all that was a southern black thing. I didn't really know
Mm-mm,
that was a universal black thing.
nah, nah.
No,
Besides,
I sound ignorant as hell, but I'm just being real. Like, oh, everybody. So this everybody thing. Okay, this really is a culture thing, not just southern culture.
like if someone asks me like what type of beverage do you want to drink, like most of the time I either have like a margarita, Angry Orchard, or orange. Hell, give me some sweet tea. Sweet doesn't have to be high in sugar or anything, but as long as it's sweet. I don't want
Okay,
unsweetened tea. I'm throwing that
I didn't
shit
know.
out in the sink.
I didn't know that they drunk sweet tea up north.
They don't
I didn't
drink
know that.
sweet tea like that up north, but because, as BRF mentioned, because I'm from Haiti, because I also lived in Miami, so I got a little southern thing as well. Haitians love to eat. I can't eat as much like I used to because, again, my eating disorder. But every now and then, I try to throw down on some good food. Heck, if you want, if you stop in New York or New Jersey area, Mama PSP
Okay.
throws down in the kitchen. Her and my brother, they cook some good griot. For those who may not know, in Creole, that's fried pork.
Okay.
They cook some banana presé. That's fried plantain, rice. I'm telling you, man, if you stop at a Haitian spot in the New York, New Jersey area, oh, you're gonna love it.
Okay.
Boy,
You're
you
gonna
got
love it. One thing in Haiti
I
they
got to
love to do is
expand.
throw down.
I got to expand the horizon, bro. I got to try
Yeah,
new
like I
stuff, man.
said, man. But you get what I'm saying, PR. I thought that was a Southern black thing.
No,
Us
no, no.
drinking
I no,
ginger ale.
I definitely hear what you're saying because I mean they associate stuff like that with down here. No, but no, honestly though, they do associate a lot of that stuff with being in the South. But honestly though, when you hear like PSP being up in the North, but
Yeah,
you when you hear stuff like that, it's refreshing to hear. It's
yeah,
Yes.
it
refreshing to
is.
hear because a lot of times us down here with the South, we get stuck with certain things and it almost kind of turns into stereotypes. So to hear it in other areas, the fact that stuff like that travels and goes out, it's it can be a little annoying being stuck with certain stereotypes. So when you hear that stuff is actually spread out and about, it's refreshing to hear.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, listen, Kenny, hot take, Kenny. He's Haitian too.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Station? I didn't know that.
No,
Mm.
you didn't know that, champ. Remember,
No, I did not.
not too long ago, we did destination to go to between Miami or Los Angeles,
Okay.
and Kenny is Haitian. Matter of fact, speaking of it, shout out to Lamar Jackson because he was walking around the streets in New York City. Him and Kai Kanat, they were actually rocking the Haitian flag. So I'm like, that's cool. That's what's up, though. And by the way, shout out to Haiti because they're competing in the World Cup, of course. So shout out to
Down
Haiti. I
here in
mean,
Atlanta. I think the funniest thing that you're ever going to hear about the World Cup is how our overseas brethren, no matter what culture you're from, how they're reacting to the Waffle House and the American food. I
Ugh.
think that is the funniest thing ever, man, because one
Yeah.
dude went to the Waffle House at 1 o'clock and they said 10 out of 10. I remember one dude said, how come we ain't got ranch over there in Europe? I remember him saying that. Dude had Chipotle for the first time. He was like, I want to come back. I'm like, there's this whole rhetoric about American stadiums versus, the European stadiums. And yeah, also I think the World Cup is a good thing, man. You're seeing a lot of guys, a lot of women from Auburn in the Auburn area coming from overseas to watch the World Cup and things of that nature. I think it's brilliant, man. I mean, good to see all the cultures, especially when you think about the climate that the world is in right about now, and
and
how it
also the
is.
women
Yeah.
because
Uh,
there's some beautiful women down overseas.
Yeah, absolutely. So I gotta give my props to where it is, man. But yeah, it's good to see how American culture. Notice
Hmm.
I'm saying American culture has an effect on this World Cup and how they're reacting to a lot of the American food over here, man. It's hilarious if you really want me to be honest with
It's always great hearing different perspectives and stuff like that, man. That's why it's so refreshing. But fellas, let's get more into football. Let's get more into football before we actually wrap up the show because there's really not that much regarding sports. NFL, which coach heading into the offseason is under the most pressure? And when I mean by
Ooh.
pressure, not pressure to just win a Super Bowl or make a deep playoff run, it could also mean who's on the hot seat for losing their job.
you.
That's a good. Oh man, I gotta think
That's a
about
very
this.
good question. I can't say
Um.
Harbaugh because it's all
No,
gonna.
not John Harbaugh. No,
I
no.
can't say Harbaugh, but well, not even Jim. I can't say neither of the Harbaugh brothers, but um,
Um.
you know what? I don't think that he's gonna. I don't. I think that he has to make it at least into the second round. I think Todd Bowles is under a lot of pressure. I think he's under a lot of pressure. Him being the coach down there in Tampa Bay, and considering that Baker Mayfield had that huge collapse, you know, throughout the year. I know they were riddled with injuries, but you're the coach. You're supposed to figure those things out. So I think
Eh,
he's under a lot of the microscope at this point, and I think that if he doesn't make a big playoff push or at least make it to the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of questions on his job as well. And I hate that because he is an African American coach, one of the few that's in there in the league right about now. But if he does not make at least to the second round this year, I can see them making a move on him and getting somebody else in there along with Baker Mayfield because that offense and that team in general did not look the same. Not to mention a lot of stuff that Mike Evans came out and was like, "Hey, I want to go to another team at this point." I think that he's out, but I think look, I don't think enough is being talked about with Nick Sirianni at this point.
I was about to say
I,
him.
I don't think enough is being talked about Nick Sirianni. Now, granted, I always say this: there's three places where you can get your behind fired very, very quickly: the SEC, Auburn, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's going to be interesting to see with another offensive coordinator, another huge trade that just happened in the offseason. You drafted Makai Lemon, you completely revamping this team, and now teams that are in your division, either they have gotten better as far as coaching wise or player wise or both. You think about the New York Giants, they have got better coaching wise and they have got better playing wise. You think about the Washington Commanders, same thing. When you think about the Dallas Cowboys, same thing. They all have gotten better, player and coaching wise. All have had great drafts. All have had great everything. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that scenario and that situation. I think that Nick Sirianni is going to be under a huge, huge microscope this year, and wouldn't surprise me if he has a struggling year and he has a first round exit. Don't be surprised if they put him on the chopping block. Now that he's going to be the scapegoat, but because a lot of the stuff that's happened hasn't been his fault. But yeah, I think he's under a lot of scrutiny at a certain point. Um, Aaron Glenn, I think he got a bad rap for sleeping at the NFL Combine. I think he got a bad rap for that. And if he doesn't at least do something reasonable, I'm not saying make the playoffs, but do something reasonable, I think that he's gonna end up on the bad side of a love song at a certain point.
Oh, I believe
Outside of
he's going to get fired, champ. Because regardless, the Jets, considering the fact they have no nationally televised games, and plus, they probably at this point they don't care because they're probably doing whatever they can to tank for Arch, because that's
yeah,
going to be that ridiculous narrative that's going to be with New York.
It's bad when a 7-10 season can save your job.
yeah,
It
I
can
think
though, but I think
it
Matt
can.
LaFleur is under some pressure. Look, I can understand why the Packers fell apart last year, and that was because of the injuries. Micah Parsons with the ACL injury. By the way, champ, if you're gonna say, well, Patrick Mahomes sit out for the next few games for the start of the season, same thing with Micah Parsons. Okay, because we moved up. Not only that, we traded up to get you. They also moved on from Rashawn Gary. He's now with the Dallas Cowboys. Um, I can't get over that big lead that they blew against Chicago,
No,
and that stings and that hurts. And I think with Matt LaFleur, okay, the clock is ticking because you've been a head coach now since 2019, and you've been a very good coach to your credit. But at the same time, outside of those two NFC Championship games, you haven't gotten that deep in the playoffs. So when I look at the Green Bay Packers, I think he may be under some pressure. Nick Sirianni's definitely under some pressure, but I think I you may not want to admit this, champ. I think Jalen Hurts is under a lot of pressure
I think that
because
he is. But
no, no,
but we all know the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to chop the coach.
yeah. Anytime when the coach and the quarterback, it always comes down to the quarterback. But here's the
I don't
thing,
know.
though.
I don't know. I don't know in the Philadelphia situation.
But here's the
I
thing,
don't know
though.
in the Phil. I'll let y'all finish, but I got a little viewpoint on that. I'll let y'all go.
But here's the thing. Do you remember the report from ESPN? I think it was from Jeremy Fowler about Jalen Hurts having total command of the offense and ignoring the offense. Doesn't that
Yeah.
kind of tell you how difficult, problematic Jalen Hurts is? Because everyone, we love to point out AJ Brown and how difficult he is. We love to point out the fact that he sits on the sidelines, reading and stuff like that. But simultaneously, Jalen Hurts, and besides, champ BRF. Let me ask you this question. If they feel so confident in Jalen Hurts, how come there hasn't been any discussions about Jalen Hurts with a contract extension? Because
Because
production wise, say whatever you want about Jalen Hurts. Yeah, he may not be the most flashy, spectacular quarterback, but in terms of production, you can't ask any more from him. And people will still feel like, well, he's a product of the offense. He's a product of the team, the tush push, the offensive line, and everything else. I think he's under some more pressure compared to Nick Sirianni. Now, obviously, to Champ's point, quarterback or coach, it always comes down to the quarterback is staying, and the coach is usually the one who's going to leave. But what about Kyle Shanahan?
I've brought up Kyle Shanahan on a
You
few
mentioned that
occasions.
during the time in the playoffs, he was under the most pressure,
Yeah,
and how he was able to get that far, considering the amount of injuries that they've had.
exactly. Like,
And go
yeah, I
ahead,
mean,
BRF.
but yeah, no, like, and the thing is like, it's not that I'm not, and you have to give him props for getting the San
No,
Francisco
no,
49ers. Yeah, you have to give him props for getting to the divisional round of the playoffs, considering the injuries and just all the adversities that that they faced in the regular season, to be still like, you know, to be one of those teams that we were talking about as far as like, oh man, this team is like a dark horse to maybe make an NFC title run, to maybe do this. Like, like, yeah, like, you definitely have to give him props. But at what point are we looking at Kyle Shanahan, the hype that he came into the San Francisco 49ers with? Granted, he was the offensive coordinator of the Falcons, Super Bowl 51. We get that. But this man was the highly prized free agent in the coaching world at the time. And then the San Francisco 49ers got him. And the hype he came in with after that Falcons offense, scoring the 540 points, being the seventh most prolific offense in the history of the sport, and doing what he did with Matt Ryan, making him a most valuable player. Um, so it's like he came in with such expectations, and granted, he's made two Super Bowls. I mean, he's done that. He's made two Super Bowls with the 49ers, but you hadn't got it done yet. And then it's like your years, you're not making a deep run in the playoffs. You're fizzling out in the regular season and not even making the playoffs. So it's like, at what point with Kyle Shanahan are we saying, okay, it's like, are we at a point now where it's like, if you don't get it done this year, we really need to start weighing options with you? Because luckily this is not a Marvin Lewis situation with the Cincinnati Bengals, because Kyle Shanahan has at least been winning, and he has at least been contending for Super Bowls. Like Marvin Lewis, he's getting to the playoffs, he's one and done when he gets there. It's not that situation, thank God. But even still, like, at what point are we looking at him like needing to weigh options here? What point are we looking at this? Because I mean, I understand he's winning, but I mean, you're the San Francisco 49ers. You are one of the blue bloods of the National Football League when it comes to championships. At what point are we looking at Kyle Shanahan not getting it done and not winning the championship in his entire career in San Francisco? What point are we saying you got to get it done at some point? We can't just keep relying on the fact, yeah, you're making the playoffs, yeah, you're making runs. You got to win it at some point. You
Yep,
have to win it at some point.
you got to. I just think, look, with Kyle Shanahan, he did it to himself. Sometimes he shot himself in the foot and not realizing the leads that he had. I mean, forget the
It's
25-point lead that against
it's the
Atlanta, New England.
same thing every
Two
time.
10-point leads that you had against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the second Super Bowl was worse for him, not just because you had the 10-point lead, but in overtime you decided to have the ball first. Meanwhile, give Kansas City an opportunity to close the deal. Why would you do that? Considering the fact that they changed the overtime rules, so the fact that you didn't know that, that's clueless on your part, and it's really hard to accept given the fact how you are. You come from the Mike Shanahan coaching tree. I mean, ironically, with Washington, they had Mike McDaniel, they had Sean McVay, they had Kyle Shanahan under the Mike Shanahan coaching tree, and you're one of the best play callers. Again, until he wins the Super Bowl, he is the Andy Reid before he won the Super Bowl, because Andy Reid, well-known offensive mind, comes from the Mike Green coaching tree. But what was the knock on Andy Reid? Clock management issues. Could he win the big one? And that says with Kyle Shanahan. And we know when it comes to QBs, I mean, look at the job he's done. I mean, look what he did for Brock Purdy as far as getting him the contract and everything else. I think, to Champ's point, he mentioned Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is going to be out. because chances are they may try to attract Mike Tomlin.
They're
Because
gonna
after all,
try.
he used to coach. He used to be the guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defense staff. The year when they won the Super Bowl, when they had D. Brooks, Warren Sapp, Ray Buckingham. I mean, the offense. They had Mike Allstott. They had Brad Johnson. They had Keenan McCardell. They had Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, talk about that type of defense that they had winning the Super Bowl, and also the reports about with Baker Mayfield. And there may be a possibility that he could actually join Pittsburgh, champ, because Aaron Rodgers, this is his last year. Are you sure you want to go with Will Howard or Drew Alar? So questions are up in the air. But as far as coach is concerned, I mentioned Matt LaFleur because of how the way they lost in that game against the Chicago Bears. And is the clock ticking on him? Because he's been the head coach now for what, 7 years, now going into his eighth year. I'm not saying I'm not saying he doesn't have another opportunity as a head coach. But with Green Bay, there's a standard, just like you mentioned, BRF with San Francisco, as far as with Super Bowls. Same thing with Green Bay. There's a reason why they're called Title Town for a reason. My other head coach, I want to see who does well this season, is one Joe Brady. Because how is he going to be since with Sean McDermott? And I thought too many times Sean McDermott got a raw deal because they used him as the scapegoat. They used him for all the other problems or examples. So it's interesting to see how Joe Brady's going to be. This is your first time as a head coach. We knew for a fact that you didn't want to coach on the collegiate level. Well, now here's your opportunity to be a head coach with the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. I don't know what's going to happen with Josh Allen because again, I think that Super Bowl window is closing. I mean, to lose the way that you did to Denver, and again, we all picked Buffalo to win that game against Denver. None of us in our wildest dreams ever thought that Bo Nix would not only outperform him but also beat him.
Beat him. I mean, when you look at the statistics of that game, when you look at how Bo Nix played compared to Josh Allen, whoo, that was
Yeah, he
that's
literally threw himself out the damn game.
yeah, he really did.
And it's not. And again, for the record, folks, we are in no way implying that Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Josh Allen.
No,
That's
we're
not the
not.
argument.
But he damn sure was better that day, and that's what counted.
Well, in
Yeah.
the words of Django, if he was, he wasn't. I can't remember the line from Django Unchained. If he was,
He was that one out of 10,000.
He was
there
at
you
one out of
go.
10,000.
But I think there's a lot of head coaches that's going to be under the pressure. But I think to me, it's Matt LaFleur. To Champ's point, Todd Bowles. I also think Kyle Shanahan is under a lot of heat as well. Another head coach, I hate to say, Dan Quinn.
Yeah, he kind of
Yeah, they already act because they already got rid of Cliff Kingsbury.
he popped. Yeah, he actually kind of popped up in my brain a little bit too when I thought about when you think about you come in, a lot of things really fell your way. Partly, Jaden Daniels had one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time, but you made the NFC Championship game, and it's now in the last, and last year was kind of like all of the all of the big weaknesses really kind of came to the forefront and showed themselves with Washington, where the offensive line not being very good, the defense and the front seven not being able to pass rush, like the two biggest weaknesses, particularly with the offensive line, Jaden Daniels' ineffectiveness to a point, but then also his injuries wasn't able to really mask that deficiency of the offensive line the way he was able to in 2024 with his running ability, his ability to throw the ball, which is what I told a lot of people before the draft. Like when we were I did a video with Champ as far as he brought up Bo Nix and Michael Penix. I was the first one who was like, you know what, we should consider, maybe we should consider Jaden Daniels. And then sure enough, he goes to Washington and just almost like almost like a Cinderella glass slipper fitting type of situation. Everything works out.
Hey,
He
his
went,
his
yeah.
rookie year, you won't find a better rookie season than what Jaden Daniels did outside of maybe CJ Stroud. But Jaden
Ben
Daniels
Roethlisberger.
I would say Ben
Ben-
Roethlisberger too is up there too, but that's it.
no. The reason why I say Jaden Daniels is because he was much better as a passer than Ben at that point. Not taking
Yeah.
anything away from Ben from what he accomplished, but when I look at Jaden Daniels, to the point, and I mentioned Chad, one of the reasons why I was skeptical with Jaden Daniels was never his talent or production. My concern was that size. And again, I thought Washington, the mistake they made was allowing him to play after that Seattle game when he fractured, I think it was his arm or elbow. I'm like, after what I saw from that Sunday night football game, I'm like, that's enough. Sit him for the remainder of the season. He's too high of an investment because again, we haven't had that much excitement since RG3 his rookie season in 2012. And yes, we can look at it and say, is this another RG3 thing? Although Champ could argue, have we seen this before with Washington? And yes, that's also true as well. But I think for but I think the new offensive coordinator Brough, I'm sorry if I forgot the name or mispronounced the name. I think he'll be fine. Because as Champ always mentions, the one thing about Jaden Daniels that he loves and appreciates the most, he's coachable. Why do you think Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels work so well together compared to Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray?
He was coachable. He was able to follow. The thing is, when you have a coachable quarterback and you are able to coach them hard, that's the thing. One thing that all coaches said about Joe Montana, Tom Brady, and I think Sam Weiss made a great example. Mike Holmgren, Steve Weiss, all of those guys who eventually became head coaches and had to mentor other great quarterbacks, Montana allowed them to coach him hard, even though they came after the Super Bowl wins. He could have been a jerk about it and said, hey, I won Super Bowls. Who the hell are you to stay here to be? This is the head coach over here. But when you are allowed to coach guys like that hard and coach them, and they are coachable and they are cooperative, rather than being anal retentive, which a lot of quarterbacks are. You just don't see it in the media because guess what? You're the CEO. It's easy to point to another employee and call them the butthole versus the quarterback who's the CEO. But I digress.
But I think
Yeah.
with Dan Quinn, look, Washington last year, and plus, after considering the season that they had in 2024, there was nowhere to go but down. I think people were aware of the offense that Cliff Kingsbury run, which is why, Champ, I said they should try to ask Jaden Daniels to take more snaps under the center. That's what they need to do moving forward. But also, shout out to Kieran, our great guy, good friend of ours. He mentioned
Yes.
that Washington had the oldest roster in the NFL last year. And look, Washington, they love to bring in old school guys. Bobby Wagner, they brought in Von Miller and stuff like that. And that's great. It's you know what it is with Washington? It's the exact opposite from San Antonio. Because San Antonio, they're relying on their youth. Washington, they're mostly relying on older guys. And what's so disappointing is because, again, it's like they're taking a step from the Snyder book, Dan Snyder book. You gotta draft and develop young quality talent. And then it's always great to have older guys on the team to mentor them. Shout out to the pitch grid. Thank you as always, man. But with Washington, Dan Quinn's got to get it together because again, you did a hell of a job as the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, turning around that team, their defense. You made them respectable for your first 3 seasons with Dallas. You in Washington, you succeeded expectations. Now, last year, you had a down year. I think injuries had to play a role. But with Washington, they got to bring in some younger guys, draft and develop some younger guys. I think for Washington, do I have them making the playoffs? No, I do not. But I could see this team possibly going maybe 8-9, somewhere maybe 8-9, could be 9-8, but that's depending on Jaden Daniels' health. And also, too, please, Washington, don't bring in Brandon Ayuk. There's there's more
If
wide
you
receivers.
do, I am going to personally make sure a Brandon Ayuk jersey magically appears on your doorstep right in New Jersey. I am going to personally make that happen. I'm going to personally make that happen. So if
You
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 better
you
hope and
you do
pray,
that. You do that. You do that. I'm gonna do something in return.
because they make that trade and they get Brandon Ayuk. Ooh,
You
oh,
you you know what I'm gonna do for you.
I got
You
something for you.
you know what I'm gonna do if you do that.
I got something for
You
you.
know what I'm gonna do if you do that.
And
For
that was
no,
not
no, for
look. I'm gonna just be real.
if you thought Aints
If
gear
you buy me
was
a
worse,
Saints
I
jersey,
got some.
that is nothing compared to getting Brandon Ayuk. You can buy a Saints jersey, and I might be a troll and even wear it on the show because it's a gift. But the thing is, you making a crazy move under new ownership by bringing in Brandon Ayuk. Whoo, boy.
And
When
the
you
only
done
reason why they're
when
considering it because again, he and Jaden Daniels are boys. But Big Fella, you send me that, I'm gonna do a video on it, just like you did a video on that towel, and I'll buy you a MAGA T-shirt and hat if you do that.
ooh.
Now you getting personal. No, we ain't doing that. And shout out to
You-
Jade, by the way, she in the chat.
yes,
Ooh, boy.
but
Boy, let me boy, you ever want me to make a video to see something get burnt?
That's just,
the MAGA T-shirt. You want me to
that's
get you a
browsing.
MAGA
Get
T-shirt
just
and hat?
super
I
burnt.
could do that.
just a burn it.
Hell, I may not give it to Chad. Worst case scenario, I may give it to somebody in his family. Don't make me give it to Mama Champ and Ace.
Ooh.
Don't do that. That now you getting personal. Now that's the family. That's all limits, brother.
I mean, they Cowboy fans. Send it to Jerry. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me
Well,
stop. Let me stop.
I mean, Jerry and
Uh-oh.
Bill Clinton, they've been hanging out together. I mean, they got that Arkansas thing.
They've been hanging. You know what? And that's for after the show.
Did I
I just
lie?
wonder.
I did not
I just
lie,
wonder
folks.
about Jerry and Bill. I wonder about Jerry and Bill sometimes because
You
hey,
should
birds of a
worry
feather.
about
If you
Bill
get my
because after
that
all, he
that
went
that
to Columbus, Georgia at one
that
point.
got doing Arkansas connection.
yeah.
Shout out to Pitch Grid. He brought up a great comment. The thing is, why Quinn got fired in Atlanta? They never prepped for the future, and look where we are now in Falcons country. I'm sorry.
Pitch Grid, he a
We're
Falcons fan.
kind of in a better situation than we were after Dan Quinn. We just need to figure out the quarterback. I
I
mean, it's
never
like,
knew
I
that.
mean, yeah.
I never knew that Pitch Grid was a Falcons fan, man.
I
That's
didn't
news to
know.
me.
I did not know either. Shout out to Fish Grid. I didn't know either. We need more of you. We need to make the brigade strong. We need more of you. We really do.
All right, fellas, let's continue on with let's talk about a little bit of WNBA. Angel Reese has been cooking the last few games. Her first return back from Chicago. I think she had like 18 and 17. And then
Yeah,
and against the New York Liberty, although they lost double digits, hey, 25, 9, and 3. But Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, them 30-point double doubles that they had. And Olivia Miles, she is running away with Rookie of the Year, and plus she may make a conversation for the MVP, considering what Minnesota has been doing without their number one star in Nafiza Collier. Big fella,
yeah.
you are the Ahmad Rashad when it comes to the WNBA. You are the Howard Cosell. You are the Bob Costas. Talk to me.
One thing that we need to watch right about now is Asia Wilson because you might have a conversation about the MVP, but there's just no one close right now.
No,
There's
I said Olivia Miles could be in the
she
conversation for
could
the MVP. I didn't say she was going to win it.
well,
But
she
Asia
will make a
Wilson,
conversation for it, much
no,
like
no,
Caitlin did her rookie year.
no.
But
After what you saw, remember last week against Golden State, her and Jackie Young.
yeah, so I don't think there's no one close. This is probably the most, barring any injury at this point, there's never been a more clear cut MVP than Asia at this point. There's never been more because she's on pace to score over 1,000 points again.
There you go.
Remember, she was the first player to score 1,000 points in the W in a season. So she's on the verge of doing it again.
Oh,
So it's just it's amazing how dominant I thought that if I thought coming into the season that if Caitlyn could do something comparable, like decent, they voter fatigue would kick in, and they was like, okay, we got to do this, get a face of the league at least one. We need the ratings and stuff like that. Right now, if they did that, everybody would know it's foul play. Everybody would know it's foul play. Plus, Caitlin Clark, she's had a few shooting slumps in the last couple months. She's had a few of them. It
But
hasn't
late,
been this MVP caliber
but
type
lately
of play.
she's been playing a lot better compared to
She's
what
been
she
playing
was
a lot
last
better.
season. And not
she's
only that,
still
last year with the injuries though, that
she's
also
still a
played a role.
but the one thing that's gonna separate Caitlyn from Asia is that Caitlyn is still a traffic cone on defense.
So she's
Well, in fairness to her, she was never known for defense during her time in Iowa.
I think she's worse now.
Well, she's probably what the female version of James Harden.
Yeah, like
yeah.
she,
I literally
yeah.
said that last week on the Uncensored show.
He
I,
really, he really did. He
I
did.
really did. I literally said that Caitlin Clark, although she is an offensive juggernaut when she's on, she is the James Harden of the WNBA. She is
yes,
the James Harden of that. She has no defensive presence whatsoever. The
None.
reason why they are able to beat teams and close them out, if you look very, very closely, they play a lot of zone, and they never allow her to get on an island. They never allow her to be on an island, which the thing is, when you get deep into the season and you play the Atlanta Dream again, and you play the Minnesota Lynx, and you play the Washington Mystics, when you play Paige Beckers, and you play AC Fudd, and you play teams with deep backcourts, which damn near every contending team had, when you play the Las Vegas Aces, and you got to face Chelsea Gray, and you got to face Jackie Young, guess what? You have to be on an island at a certain point. You're gonna have to be on an island. So that's how come their defensive efficiencies have been masked, because they're playing all of this zone so they can clog up the lanes and not allow her to be on an island. So that's one of the reasons why that has occurred. But the thing is, back to Asia, she's being so dominant right now that there's nobody even in second place at this point.
Mm-mm.
Barring any injury, she's going to win the MVP again.
Unanimously.
Olivia Miles, there's no one close. Unanimously. I think the only arguments that we can make this year is there will be a new defensive player of the year. Atlanta Smith has been greatly disappointed down there in Dallas. In fact, Jessica Shepard has been a better addition to the Dallas Wings than Atlanta Smith. And Atlanta Smith is the
We know
reigning
who
defensive player of the year.
is it safe to say we know who Depoy is right now?
Huh?
Is it safe to say we know who Depoy is right now?
Yeah, Angel Reese.
Mm-hmm.
Angel Reese is the defensive player of the year right about now. So, and look, the way I like about how she's doing, she's guarding people 40 minutes of hell. 40 minutes of hell, she's guarding.
It's like her LSU days all over again.
Yeah, 40 minutes of hell. Not to mention, look, she can dish it out. She can create second chance shots. Their rebounding has gone up almost 20%, 30% since Brittany Griner left. Mind you, Brittany Griner's a Hall of Famer.
yes.
So her rebounding was better than Brittany Griner's was last year. And the league's in trouble, too, because they haven't thought about this. Two teams that are going to be contending this year don't even have one of their star players. Minnesota doesn't have Nafisa Collier. And when you look down in Atlanta, Bree Jones ain't back yet.
Mm-hmm.
So when Bree gets back, Angel goes back to the power forward position. Nas Hillman, who is the reigning sixth woman of the year, goes back on the bench. They're able to utilize Medina Alcott. They're able to utilize Pow. They're able to utilize all of those players that were bench players last year a hell of a lot better than they are now. Right now, they're just trying to figure out a rotation until Miss Jones come back. When Miss Jones come back and she's back at the center position, it's going to be a whole nother ball game. But right now, really, if you really want me to be honest, it's just a four-woman race in the W at this point. We have a lot of these dark horse teams, but we know they're not going anywhere. Indiana Fever, good, not going anywhere. Dallas Wings, good, not going anywhere. The only four contending teams that I could really see that is going to go to the WNBA finals at this point It's the Minnesota Lynx, the New York Liberty,
Atlanta.
the Atlanta Dream, and the Las Vegas Aces. Those are the big four. Everybody else, it's just entertainment at this point. It's
You can,
just
yeah.
entertainment at this
You
point.
you kind of you kind of poking around just to see if you can make a. If you're a team like Indiana, if you're a team like Dallas, hell, if you're a team like Connecticut, you're kind of poking around thinking you can make a dent. When in
Yeah.
reality, in a maybe a 3 game series if they fall asleep on you. But when you're talking like 5, 7 game series, those teams don't stand a chance.
Those teams
When it
don't
comes
stand
to
a chance.
Minnesota, Atlanta, Vegas, and the Liberty, any of those dark horses don't stand a chance. More than a 3 game series against those four, nah. Because
Yeah.
the better team, because in 5 game series, 7 game series, the better teams are going to show up. And right now, those 4 teams are the blueprint. They are the blueprint right now as far as like winning a championship in the WNBA. It's Minnesota, Atlanta, Vegas, and New York. It's those four.
I
Yeah.
think
And
Vegas is repeating because I just think with Jackie Young with the addition, and mind you, when they won that game against Golden State, remember Kennedy Carter did not play, and we know what she can do as far as with her scoring. Because
yeah.
since she's joined the team after being away from the WNBA, I think for like a year or two, her contributions as far as scoring has been big.
Y'all keep talking. I'll be
So
right back.
no, it's all good, BRF. But I think champ with Angel Reese, like I said, let your play do the talking. When you let your play do the talking, this is what you can do. I think Atlanta has no problem with how the way Angel is playing lately. It seems like she's getting her confidence together. Early on, she had some struggles. She had some bad games against the Las Vegas Aces. No shame after all, because it was against the reigning champions and Asia Wilson. But I think with Angel, she's fitting in. I think with Angel Reese, all she just has to do is just continue to work on her offensive game. DPOY, she's running away with it. Olivia Miles from Minnesota, she's running away with Rookie of the Year. Asia's in a class by herself. The only person that could try to challenge her is Olivia, but considering the fact she's on pace to score 1,000 points, and if you look at what she is doing this season, averaging 26 and 9 and shooting the ball very efficiently as she does, I think for the WNBA, I think the Aces, they're just in a class by themselves. Jackie Young, I love what she can do with the scoring and with the defensive part. Kennedy Carter provides another spark for the team as well. I think with Minnesota, if Nafisha Collier comes back, how does this help out Minnesota? Because again, last year before Asia Wilson won the MVP, I had her. So did you,
Yeah.
running away with the league MVP. If she can come and be a resemblance of what she was, I think Minnesota can make a deep threat for the finals.
Yes, indeed. I think that look, then they lost a lot of key players. They lost
Especially
Teaspoon.
in the offseason, yes.
They lost Teaspoon. They lost Jessica Shepard. They lost the defensive player of the year, Atlanta Smith. I mean, Nafisa Collier, that's a given because she was out with injury. So for this team to be 8-9-2, that is amazing. Look out for another good center that I'm currently watching on the other screen right about now. There's another good center up there and watch this. Austin. Shakira Austin. She's another great center that is going to be making a lot of noise. So don't be surprised if she make an all-star team this year.
Averaging around 15 and 8 this season.
Exactly. Kiki Arifin, excuse me, unfortunately is out this game, but don't be surprised if we see Shakira Austin in the All-Star game. But as far as awards is concerned, it's Asia, runaway. A lot of the awards this year are really runaways and really ain't nobody gonna challenge them. Think about the sixth person of the year. Kennedy Carter. There's nobody getting close. She's averaging 22 points a game. When you think about the rookie of the year, Olivia Miles, nobody's close. When you think about the MVP, nobody's close. The only thing that somebody may have a chance of doing is with the DPOY.
What
And I
about
think
Coach of the Year?
coach of the year, that's either Cheryl Reeve, the coach of the Minnesota Lynx, is going to win that, or Becky Hammond is going to win another one. I don't really see another team winning that. I
I
would
would
say
say the
this: the
one from
Dallas,
Minnesota.
huh?
I would say the one from Minnesota
Yeah,
because,
Cheryl,
to your point,
Coach Cheryl.
considering the fact that all the offseason losses that they had, Jessica Shepard. So I think her and the fact they're doing this without Nafisha Collier, that adds icing to the cake.
Yeah. So and look, you got to give the coach. I think another coach that we need to look out for as far as coach of the year is the coach for the Dallas Wings.
Yes.
because he really lit a fire up under them early in the season and said this team is selfish. This team is very, very lackluster. And ever since then, they've gotten back to their winning ways. Uh, Paige Beckers and AC Flood are a hell of a backcourt combination. Don't be surprised, BRF. I know you're going to call me crazy. Don't be surprised if they trade Enrique Gumbawale
That's not crazy.
because she's off and on. She's been off and on the entire season thus far.
That's not crazy. I could literally, but at the same time, though, you have to be careful as far as trading somebody like her because she's still instant offense. So if you mess around and you slip up and you trade her to one of those contenders and you add her scoring to a bench that might already be loaded, whew. But it's not
And-
that's not a ridiculous idea to think about though.
Washington needs another scorer outside of
Ooh,
Sonia
she'd be perfect in
Citron.
Washington. She'd be perfect in
Her,
Washington.
Shakira Austin, Sonia Citron, Kiki Airfin. Because remember, before Brittany Sykes got traded to the Seattle Storm, they were in playoff contention, the Washington Mystics. So they need somebody who can stretch the floor and get them a quick basket outside of Citron. Because Georgia Moore, I'm sorry, not doing it. Cody McMahon she's a rookie, and I really think they should have went and got a point guard instead of getting Lauren Betts because they already had a big in the form of Shakira Austin.
Well, I'll give Georgia more a little slack because she missed all of last year, so this is technically her rookie year. So I'll cut her a little bit of slack.
Yeah, but when you scoring 5 points a game, that's
I get that too, but I mean Washington right now is what is Shakira is right now is basically what Shakira and Shakira Austin and Kiki Ariafrin and Soya Citron right now. They're kind of running like a three-headed monster right now. But I mean, because coming into the season, we were looking at them and we were thinking like, even though Georgia Moore is coming into this year after missing all last year, we're still thinking the kind of polished prospect she was coming out of Kentucky. We were thinking she would just come in and just add to this. And I mean, so I give her a little bit of slack on that, but I don't know. Washington has been very hit or miss too. Like they'll either run you out of the building, or they'll get run out of the building. There's no great area with them.
yeah. Also, one last one. Look at Los Angeles as far as Dark Horse Awards because Cameron Brink definitely has a chance to take a shot at the Most Improved Player Award. She definitely has a shot to do that if they don't give it to Jessica Shepard. And look at Kelsey Plum for the scoring title. She's a dark horse.
She would be an MVP candidate if LA was actually winning games.
LA's a dumpster fire.
I've mentioned that to you multiple times, champ. Had LA had a better record, she would be winning it. Right now for scoring title, Asia Wilson, if the season ended today, she would win it right now, averaging 26.4. Kelsey Plum, 24.8. Brittany Sykes of Toronto, 21.6. Kelsey Mitchell, another key player that Undisputed World Champ has mentioned countless times, not only because of her scoring, but also with her defense, 20.4. And Brianna Stewart, 20.4. So it's great to see that the WNBA, hey, listen, even though NBA season is over and we still got the Summer League and free agency, please take some time to watch some good WNBA basketball. And hopefully now that the NBA season is over, more exposure. NBC, ESPN, ABC. So let's give the ladies some love, man.
Yeah,
Hey, them stadiums are selling out too because Toronto they sold out. Indiana has sold out. The Las Vegas Aces they've sold out. Look, I went to State Farm Arena when we played the Aces, and that entire arena was sold out. So there's been a lot of
you know what the WNBA needs to do? I don't think they'll ever do it. But for Toronto, imagine if Drake actually pulled up.
The who?
Drake.
Yeah. I think that would be a good thing because guess what, man? A lot of celebrities. Hey, look, you're laughing. But the thing is, when
like you mentioned Atlanta, remember Bow Wow and them franchise boys when they were
all of them guys, T.I. he performed.
Yes.
When he performed at an Atlanta Dream game. There's a lot of people who perform at these games.
I mean, I'm laughing about the Drake thing. It's a whole nother conversation.
No,
But in
yeah,
turn,
that
but
is
in turn,
important.
but in terms of just
Well, he's
mainstream,
from Toronto,
that's
so
what I'm
that's
From
what.
saying.
Toronto.
That's what I'm saying. As far as mainstream exposure, Toronto, you're not gonna get any bigger than Drake. So yeah, like if he pulled up to a tempo game, oh yeah, it was like, oh trust me, it would light the arena. Don't get it twisted. I'm just laughing.
Him or
It's just a
SGA.
whole nother reason why I'm laughing at him.
Him or
So
SGA. Because
yeah.
SGA, for those who may know, Shea Gilgeous Alexander, he's from the Toronto area as well. So
Hmm.
that also plays. But fellas, let's get to my favorite topic on the Sports PSP podcast: baby face or heel. Now, for those who may not know, in wrestling language, babyface is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, tweener is someone in between. So I come up with a list of athletes, celebrities, whoever. And me in the panel, we're going to decide whether they are babyface, heel, or tweener. Rest his soul, the late great Robin Williams.
Oh, he's babyface.
Babyface. I
Yeah.
mean,
He was funny, especially Mrs. Doubtfire. Um, I love the movie Jack that he starred in with Bill Cosby, Jennifer Lopez, and stuff like that. Um, Funny. And my favorite quote that I always live to this day: everyone you know in life is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. And just a smile, just his exuberance, man. Remember when he was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? When you had Wayne Brady and the rest of the crew, and how he appeared in one episode one time. So I kind of love that. But he babyface easily.
yeah, easily. Plus, he played the genie from Aladdin. You
Yes.
know, that was
Exactly.
that was amazing. Jumanji.
Goodwill Hunting.
Yes.
Hook.
I mean,
Hook.
Flubber. Played Flubber. Played in the movie Flubber. Uh, we already said Mrs. Doubtfire. One thing that people don't understand about Robin Williams, he was supposed to be the original Riddler before they gave the role to Jim Carrey. He's
Was
supposed to
Mm.
be
supposed.
the original Riddler.
No, I'll tell everybody how that story goes.
Yeah.
They offered him the role as Joker. He was supposed to be the original Joker, but they were you know what it was. They wanted Jack Nicholson to do it. And then Jack Nicholson wouldn't do it for some reasons, I guess money wise or whatnot. So they used Robin Williams as bait to finally get Jack Nicholson to take the role as Joker. So yeah, so Champ's right. He was supposed to be the original Riddler, but Robin Williams still had a grudge against them for how they treated him as far as the Joker role. So he didn't take it because of that. And they ultimately went with Jim Carrey. So that was just a whole chain reaction to craziness right there.
Yes, indeed. And look, he was a major movie star, man. Major. He was so down to earth. And that, like I said, man, your childhood. It's just when you knew a Robin Williams movie was out, you knew it was going to be comedy. You know it was going to be a mixture of comedy. You knew it was going to be a mixture of seriousness. And you knew it was going to be a lesson within that story. So that was Robin Williams, an undisputed baby face, man. Uh Thank you, Mr. Williams. God rest your soul for being part of my childhood and my adulthood, man. I love your comedy specials. Especially about the ice skating part. I'll never forget the ice skating joke. That was the funniest shit I ever heard in my life. So go watch that special if you would. The PSC is laughing because you know what I'm talking about. But that was the
Isn't
funniest
that
thing I've
why
ever.
you call us the highlight of Friday nights?
Yes. Um
And shout out to our guy Dwayne.
he was on the Richard Pryor show. My cousin, just half my cousin twice removed. Um Man, Robin Williams, great, legendary. We throw that word around a lot, but you know, in my lifetime, him, Jim Carrey, guys who just knew how to make people laugh and knew how to make people feel comfortable. Like I stated, if you listen closely enough as I got to be an adult, you go back closer enough in those comedy movies that he made in order to make people laugh, there's always a lesson in it. Always a lesson. And I'm so grateful to have not just laugh, but learn a lesson. And it makes you think because, unfortunately, his demise was a self demise. It makes you wonder, was he trying to teach these lessons because he was, you know, deteriorating inside this whole time? It's just amazing how that works. But Robert Williams, undisputed babyface, man. Like I said, Mr. Williams loved that ice skating joke. That was awesome.
BRF.
There aren't too many entertainers out there that I like, that I miss, like wholeheartedly miss, like he was part of the family. Like I knew him personally. Robin Williams is one of those actors that I feel like I knew on a personal level, that I miss dearly because of just the impact he made on so many people with his movies, with his comedy. He was real, he was authentic, he gave it to you no matter the situation. Like my all-time favorite Robin Williams movie is Hook. Always has been, always will be, because he touches every possible emotion you can with that movie. The imagination side, the fantasy adventure side, the comedy side, the drama side. Robin Williams was one of the best actors as far as just making you legitimately feel every possible emotion that you could feel. And even though he was mainly a comedic actor, he didn't really get into like more of the dramatic roles until later on in life before he tragically passed. He just made you feel some type of way when you watched his movies, and you felt like you were like right there with him. And it's just one of those uncanny talents that not a lot of actors have, and he had it. And that's why I say like I wholeheartedly miss him, like he was a personal friend of mine, because it's like it's like like it's like you're sitting on the couch with him and talking about things and discussing things with him. It's like you feel everything that he felt. Goodwill Hunting, one of his best performances, one of his best performances. Just he knew what he needed to do to get certain emotions and feelings out of you, and of course being one of the greatest comedic actors that the world has ever produced. I mean, people don't realize how good of a stand-up comic Robin Williams was, because he did so many movies and he was such a good comedic actor. Folks don't realize how good he was at stand-up, because it was effortless to him. He didn't try. And that's what made him so good. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't need to say he's undisputed babyface. We know this. That's like, I don't need to say it. I just want to just go in more as far as talking about what he means to me as an entertainer, as a person, and how he just like he kind of just sculpted a lot of our childhood and a lot of our, like what Champ said, adulthood. It's a shame. It's a shame that we didn't that like it's a shame we didn't get the Williams experience longer, because who knows what he could have done with a lot of the actors of the day, a lot of the comedians of the day, and what type of art. Could you imagine a Robin Williams Will Ferrell movie?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? A Robin Williams Will Ferrell movie. Could you imagine a Robin Williams Kevin Hart movie? Could you imagine a Robin Williams Jack Black movie? Like the things we missed out on as
Could you
far as
imagine a
like,
Robin Williams Kevin Hart movie?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I brought that up. Imagine the imagine the master classes of comedy that we've unfortunately missed out on because Robin Williams is no longer with us. Like just so much. That's why it's one of those things where it's like the people
Can
that
you
are still
imagine
alive
BRF?
today.
Can you imagine BRF if we had a Robin Williams Eddie Murphy movie?
Nowadays, it would be tough.
Yeah,
nowadays it'd be kind of tough. But I do think a Robin Williams. Did we get a Robin Williams Eddie Murphy movie?
I don't recall. I have to look that up.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right now. As a matter of fact, I think we did. Let me look. Hold on. I could be wrong, but I kind of want to look it up now. Ladies and gentlemen, the art of live television. Y'all got to take note of this stuff. Oh,
See if they ever did a movie. They never
No,
starred in a movie
they
together.
never did. Nope, they never did. They never did. I think they did. I think they shared a stage in the Oscars back in '88. So I can only imagine what that was like. Those two being on stage at the same time. But nope, we never get
Yeah, the 88
the '88
Oscars.
Oscars. So yep, that's another miss. That's another opportunity we weren't able to get. Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy together. That would have been a master class because I wholeheartedly think when you talk about if you want to talk about the Mount Rushmore of the '80s in terms of comedic acting, that's two of them right there. There you go. So yeah, just the opportunities that we unfortunately won't get because he's not here. But at the same time, though, it's like just because those missed opportunities exist, that doesn't mean we're not going to sit here and love and admire and cherish the memories that he brought to us, whether it's stand up or his or his movies and everything like that. So definitely, it's always R.I.P. Robin Williams on my in my neck of the woods because he's one of those that his movies will never get old and they will forever be funny and and he's timeless. He's one of those timeless entertainers that it could be 30, 40, 50 years from now. They're still going to be talking about Robin Williams. That's just how good he was. And that's just how much he meant to the game as far as like entertainment, comedy, all that. So it's always going to be RIP Robin Williams where I'm at. So just he like I said, I mean he's made too many good movies that it's just it's impossible not to like. It's impossible not to respect the man and admire his craft. So yeah, it's always RP Robin Williams. Always.
All right. I have a wrestler. I think he is a tweener. Randy Orton.
I do
You know
too.
what? I think, look, I'm gonna go another route with it. I'm gonna go a baby face. I
Explain,
will
big
go
fella.
baby face. And the reason why I say that is I know people always say that youth is no excuse for irresponsibility, but in a way, he has served as a way to learn from your mistakes in the industry once you are in a profession. And I can attest to this, when you're very, very gifted, it's very, very easy when you're young to lose sight of how special you really are and how you have to take care of those gifts. Like I always say, I can relate very much closely to Shaq because, hey, look, don't brag about it a lot. Hell, I graduated with a 3.6. But, my mom always gets on me about, hey, you could have been valedictorian, but hey, let's go party a little bit. Let's go eat this cheeseburger over here. Let's go see what the world has to offer. Let's, rather than just bury myself in work all the time. But the thing is, I look at him as a baby face because guess what? He learned his lessons as a youth. He wasn't one of these recidivists that kept doing it. It's one thing when you make mistakes and you take the time to revisit those mistakes and you say, this was a mistake. I should have conducted myself a hell of a lot better. I should have done this a lot better. I shouldn't have let my addictions and my fame go out and run amok as a youth. But you saw as he got older, he understood the opportunity that he had with the WWE. He understood how gifted that he was. And he started more and more to take advantage of those gifts. As you saw as he got older, he did not get into any more trouble. He did not have the addictions. He did not have the party habits. I never forget a story that he told. He said, one day I got up from a real just hard night out. He said, I know it was hard. And I walk in to a meeting late, and out walks my father, the Undertaker, and Vince McMahon as I'm walking in. And that could have been the end of me right there. And instead, the Undertaker, my father, and Vince McMahon wrapped their arms around me and say, hey, everything's going to be all right. You got to stay on top of everything. I understand that a lot of things in your youth can be used against you as you get older. But as you get older, you change. And if you're not changing, then you fail. In the great words of the late great Muhammad Ali, any man that views the world when he's 40 the same as when he's 20. Well, let me phrase it around. Any man that views the world when he's 40 the same as when he was 20 has failed as a man. And as Randy Orton has gotten older, he's become a family man and things of that nature. Guess what? I learned from my youth. Hell, I'm 20 years old. 20 years old, 21 years old. He talked about how I remember Triple H talked about how immature him and Mark Jindrak was, because it was supposed to be originally Mark Jindrak and Randy Orton. They were supposed to be in Evolution before Batista came along.
Right.
And they said, and I never forget, Triple H told Ric Flair, he said, if you put them two idiots in the car with me one more time, I swear to God, I'm gonna kick them both out of the car and I'm gonna make them walk to the venue. He said, if Randy's in here by himself, Mark Jindrak rides in another car. So when you're in your youth, people are more tolerable of you making mistakes and things of that nature. It's when you get as old, it's when you get in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, and when you still making those same mistakes that you did back then, that's when the problem occurs. And you see that a lot in the music industry. And I hate to use that as an example. You see it with a lot of the rap moguls that have gone to jail. Still doing the same stupid mess that you was doing back when you was in your youth. When you should have stopped doing it a long time ago. You should have learned. Youth, the thing about youth is it allows us to make mistakes. The thing about you getting older is it allows you to be wise. But in the great words of Mike Tyson, old too soon, smart too late. So, and thankfully that wasn't Randy Orton. I know people say youth is not an excuse for, bad behavior, but a lot of times you don't know. A lot of times you don't. And you don't know who knows how to act, although you grew up in wealth, although you grew up in the industry of wrestling, who knows how to react when you get $1 million in your hand and you get the world handed to you when you're 22 years old, 24 years old. Who knows how to react to those? That's why you see so many players getting in trouble. But when you learn from those mistakes and you're not a recidivist, then hey, that's where you get your credit from. And the thing is, he's admitted that he has a pill problem. He's admitted that he's had various different problems in his lifetime when he first got started in the wrestling. He admitted that he was a prick. He blew off appearances and stuff like that. He admitted it. But when you're in your youth, guess what? You're
Not to
allowed to
mention
make
his
mistakes.
father.
Yeah,
Remember his father's Hall of Fame ceremony when he was leaning in the back and one of the producers or whoever told him, "Hey, Randy, could you sit up?"
yeah. So guess what? When you're in your youth and you get the world handed to you on a silver platter, that's a hard thing to manage. I couldn't imagine doing that. I thank God every day that He didn't hand me everything that He handed me in my 30s and when I was 21 years old. Shit, I might not even be here, knowing me. So I'm just being real. So when you're able to learn from those mistakes, and to his credit, it wasn't him being egregious as far as out here breaking the law every time you looked around. It wasn't egregious of that nature, but it was egregious nevertheless. But when you're able to learn from your mistakes and you don't keep repeating them and you don't do those things and you don't let those things follow you into your when you start coming of age and you start getting it right, that's where the true testament is. That's how come I label him a babyface.
I'm gonna label him tweener. And everything you said, champ, was well stated. But the reason why to keep the same energy, because remember, not too long ago we did Shawn Michaels, and we know how big of a prick Shawn Michaels was back in the '90s. But Shawn Michaels has turned it around. To your point, champ, about Randy's pill addiction, it was no secret that Shawn had issues with pills and alcohol.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna say tweener with Shawn Michaels, consider how much of a dick he was, and Shawn was young. Again, not to excuse it, but it does explain it. But the reason why I say tweener to keep the same energy, Shawn Michaels pissed off a lot of people. You mentioned the Undertaker. Randy pissed off the Undertaker when he missed the entire walkthrough. for WrestleMania 21 because the night before he was out partying. Taker has often said with Shawn Michaels, if Shawn was on fire, I wouldn't piss on him to set the fire out. But Shawn, as he turned around his life, just like Randy, shout out to his wife. I think his wife has been a huge part for the maturing process, as well as Shawn's wife. Shawn ultimately turned around his life, became a born again Christian, and performed. And as Shawn Michaels in the ring, as far as with his ability, Randy Orton during the ruthless aggression time, one of the, if not the best heels. I mean, look at the work. I mean, obviously, what led to the WrestleMania between him and Triple H. I mean, hitting the RKO on Stephanie, how ruthless he was. I mean, we can't disregard the Evolution match. I'm sorry, the match against Mick Foley and Backlash. That's what kind of also helped out Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Even, yeah, helped him catapult his career, even
Yeah.
took it to
Became the
another
very
level.
thing that he hated. A legend.
Yeah. I think Randy is a tweener because if I'm going to keep the same energy with Shawn Michaels as a tweener, then we have to keep the same energy with Randy Orton. They're very similar. They're not the same person, but they have similarities. Both had substance abuse issues. Both were not great guys during their time early in their career. But as life went on, they improved. They matured. They settled down. Sean, obviously, now he's born again Christian, family man, doing a lot of great things with the NXT. And Randy's still producing. Also, another thing, champ, I'm kind of surprised that you didn't mention this. And I don't know how you may feel about this, but do you remember the story and how he talked about when he was in the military and how he saw some of the things that was going on?
Yeah, he would a wall. At the same time, look, I was in the military. The shit ain't easy. I
Yeah.
went in at 17. And I'ma just be real. Had I done something like that, probably wouldn't be where I am right about now because I probably would have been homeless if I would have came back home. Not gonna lie, because they were not gonna let my parents were not gonna let me back in the house. I already knew that. But the thing is, if that doesn't happen, then we don't see Randy Orton. And the thing is, I've seen a lot of. I'm trying to say this in a very, very polite way, but in a way where everybody can relate. When you get into the military, especially back then, he went in the 2000s. I enlisted in the 2000s. He enlisted in the 90s and the 90s, early 2000s. I enlisted in 2004. It was a little bit different back then than it is now. Now it's more quality of life. As I got in there and furthered my career in the military, it was more about quality of life. But back then, it was built different, especially when you are in a. They call it the few and the proud in the Marines for a reason. They call it the few and the proud in the Marines for a reason. It is not. It is no joke. And I'm gonna just say it's not for everyone. Now, back then, when I was a younger guy, I probably would have said, "Ah, you're a coward. You're this, you're that." But the thing is, it's not for everybody, and I'm gonna keep that same energy. It's not for everyone. Everybody ain't built like that. There's a reason why a lot of kids like myself go to the military. You've already seen a lot. I had strict parents. My mom and my dad, they didn't play that shit. My father was in the military. He was a Gulf War veteran. So guess what? I already had the background to go in there because I was getting yelled at every day on a regular basis. You don't do your homework, that's ass whooping. I always just say the only difference between the military and my parents is when I went to the military, the drill sergeant didn't have no belt, and I was grateful for that. But everybody ain't built like that, and I understand. And guess what? When you go into the military, it's a shocker. It's a real big it's a rude awakening. You're being away from home for the first time. You're homesick. You are, you don't, guys. There's a lot of guys that are older than you that are in your face a lot. They're right here, and you got to stand there and you got to humble yourself. A lot of guys cannot do that. It's a humble. Military is by far the most humbling experience that you will probably ever do, because in the real world, Somebody gets in front of your face like this and they're yelling at you, your first impulse is to go the fuck off. Let's just be real. But in the military, you have to be disciplined in order when that drill sergeant or that NCO or that officer, that warrant officer, they get right here and they're screaming at you. You have to have the discipline, the wherewithal, the situational awareness, and the humbleness to say yes, whatever their title is. Listen to what they have to say. Ask for permission to speak. And then if they still disagree with you, move on, take it to the next level, and move humbly. That is a very, very humbling experience. It's a very humbling experience. You know, somebody gets right there and they're screaming and you're trying to do a task and something like that. It's a humbling experience and it's a lot of pressure. Somebody's screaming at you right here, somebody's screaming and getting right here, and you're trying to do a task, you're trying to disassemble that whole Forrest Gump scene where the dude, the drill sergeant's right here screaming at him and he putting together that's a real thing. Put that times a million. That is a real thing, especially in the Marines. I have two, God rest his soul, Sergeant Rhodes. You know, my cousin, he was in the Marines. He was a recon Marine. You know, my uncle, one of my uncles, he was a Marine. Those guys are built different on that spectrum. They call them the few, the proud for a reason. But the thing is, you got to realize when someone gets in your face like that, it's like it's a rude awakening. Like I said, I was fortunate when I went in there. Guess what? The way I looked at it, the drill sergeant ain't got no belt. Just being real. He ain't got no belt. He ain't got no switch. And he ain't got nothing else in his hand. He's just going to scream at you. I ain't got to worry about him screaming at me and putting a belt on my ass. So that's the way I looked at it when I went into the Army. He doesn't have a belt. So the only thing I got to do is just stand there and do what he says and shut the fuck up. Everybody doesn't have that mentality, though. It's just like when my dad was telling me to do something, there was something in his hand. He was very, very heavy on discipline. When I got to the military, same thing. They just didn't have a belt in their hand. The only thing I knew is like, hey, I have the wherewithal in order to say, hey, guess what? This is training. This is going to be further. Everybody doesn't have that mentality. You got to be built different. You got to be thrown off slightly in order to be in the military, bro, because guess what? You have to be humble. You have to be thrown off slightly, and you have to have that mixture of discipline, craziness, and humbleness in your system because you're going to get yelled at. There's going to be confrontations where you have to know when it's going to put you in situations where you're going to have to know when to fight your battles. And if you are fighting with someone higher than you and you know you're not going to win that battle, it's best to shut your damn mouth and just move forward. Listen to what he has to say so that you won't end up in a bad situation. So, to his credit, I understand that he went AWOL. You know, I had a couple of guys when I went to basic training went AWOL. But at the end of the day, guess what? They wasn't built for it. And I understood that. Like I stated, I had an edge when I first went there to the military. My dad was an Army veteran himself. And the way I looked at it is, look, this drill sergeant ain't got no belt or no switch in his damn hand. So guess what? It's easy to do what he tells me to do. He's just yelling. You know what I'm talking about, BR. You know, your daddy got a belt in his damn hand. He's screaming at you, do them damn dishes. It's hard to concentrate and do what he said at the same time. You looking at that damn belt. You looking at
Mama
that damn
and
belt.
mama and well, mom probably mama more with the dishes, but after hey, no
Yeah, you
lies
looking at
told.
that damn belt rather than what he said. Don't look at me, damn it. It was by the time I got there, it was easy. Like this dude ain't got no belt in his hand. I can do what I need to do. I'm used to getting yelled at already, but everybody don't come from that background.
And not only that, champ, also too, the other thing that also Randy Orton, he did disobey an order. And as a result, he had to serve 38 days in a military prison.
Yeah,
And
you
then
had to be
after
used.
yeah, and then after that, he recalled the Marine or whoever handing him his discharge papers.
Yeah, you had to spend 30. He had to spend 30 days in the brig. So, yeah,
38.
38 days in the brig, boy. That don't know. You remember what Martin said at Blue Street?
Yes.
Don't nobody want to go to jail there. So you don't want to go to jail in the military, boy. They will work because you gonna work.
Not only
You
that, but what was also interesting what he talked about, just like you talked about, champ. I know you don't. I know you want to keep it confidential. Some of the things that he witnessed, such as like the hazing part and stuff like
yeah,
that.
you see a
That
lot of that shit because and the only reason that I didn't go through it is because I was pretty decent size. but you see it all the time. You see a lot of the hazing. You see a lot of people messing with people. I cannot tell you how many fights happen in the barracks. I cannot tell you how many people got thrown down the stairs. A lot of shit happens in the army that people do not tell you about. And guess what? It's sometimes that shit like prison. Somebody's gonna test you before you get there. When you get there, when you get off that damn bus, that you, especially a lot of different guys, they trying to say I'm from here, and I used to tell guys, unless you from Bethlehem, Jerusalem, Wakanda, or Ragnarok, you hey, it is what it is. You got to go for what you know. So I'm just being real, but that's just how it goes. You see a lot of the hazing, you see a lot of the bullying, you see a lot of people saying different things where you can't do stuff. But like I stated, I had a different mentality when I went there. If I couldn't do something right offhand, guess what? You got time to make up for it. Guess what? You signed a contract. They're gonna get you through where you need to do. Whereas when somebody said other than a drill sergeant, you can't do this, ha ha ha, I gave them the finger and said blank you and move forward. What you gonna do? Fight me? I was able to do that and move forward. A lot of guys aren't able to do that. They're not used to that confrontation. Everybody ain't grow up the same. I had brothers and cousins growing up. All of them were boys. I grew up in a family full of boys. So when you in a family full of guys, it's gonna be some hazing, it's gonna be some bullying, it's gonna be people doing crap to you when you go to sleep, hitting you with stuff when you go to sleep, hitting you with pillows, hitting you with rags. You're gonna get into fights. So by the time you get to certain places, when you grow up like that, you're already used to it. So when somebody else outside of the people that you know and love tries that, then guess what? You know how to react. Everybody doesn't know. Everybody doesn't know. And I mean, it's you'll be surprised about the horror stories that you hear in the army. Luckily, I had good people around me, but you hear about a lot of horror stories. Hell, even in a even in a place of war, even in a place of war, like when we was overseas, you hear about a lot of horror stories of things happening over there that you say, damn, this is the military. How could this happen? But it does.
Well, eloquently said, champ. BRF.
Yeah, that was one thing I definitely appreciate with Champ is like his experience as far as like serving in the military and all that, and being able to like kind of hear stories and just hear his lived experiences, like the discipline side and just life in general and just the lessons that he picked up there. It's like it's definitely admirable and definitely respectful, and I definitely enjoy hearing that. So definitely thank you for your service, and shout out to you for everything you've done for this country and the sacrifices and trials and tribulations that you've gone through, but that have ultimately made you a better man and made you who you are today. So every day I salute you for that. In case if you don't hear it enough, you're gonna hear it from me. So I thank you for your service, and you keep on doing what you do. So I want to start off with that. Um, Randy Orton to me is, I know I said tweener, but he's on the good side of it.
Yes.
It's just that like he did so much early on in his career to almost jeopardize having a career at all. You have to respect and admire all the good work that he's done since to really fortify his reputation and really kind of gain respect of all his peers that that were there then and here now. You have to really admire and respect Randy Orton for that. And yeah, and I'm definitely going to keep the same energy with him as far as Shawn Michaels, because I had Shawn Michaels on the good side of it too, just for everything that he went through early on in his career, even when he was basically the face of the WWF at the time, still getting into trouble, still just being like the being like the biggest jerk on the planet, just because he could get away with it, because he knew he was Shawn Michaels and he knew he was money, and he knew Vince McMahon wasn't going to jeopardize that no matter what he did, which was crazy. But I mean, he knew at the time, and the egos like that are the ones that have to get the hard reality check. They have to get the hard one. They have to get the worst ones, because that reality check more often than not is you can lose it just as quick as you built it, and they have to get that, and that's the reality check that really is in common with a lot of these guys. Like, as quick as you've built this up and as quick as you've obtained this kind of
Mm-hmm.
this fame and this fortune and all that, being this person, as quick as you built it, all it takes is the one thing and it's gone just like that. And I think, and Shawn Michaels definitely saw that because you see where he is now, the work he's doing with NXT, just being who he is around the young people, being a born again Christian, kind of really revitalizing himself, rededicating himself. You see it every day with Sean. Shout out to his wife Rebecca. If anybody doesn't know, she was one of the original Nitro girls. She was Whisper.
Yes.
Shout out to her, being one of those big key kind of those pillars in his life to help him rebuild and get to where he is now. Same thing with Randy. Shout out to Kim. I follow her on IG. She's got if she's not his muse, then what is it?
Oh,
The
one other wife we forgot to mention, Kurt Angle's wife.
Oh yes. Oh gosh, what's her name? Giovanna.
Yes.
Giovanna. Yeah, definitely shout out to Giovanna because things he was going through as well with the pill addictions and all this other stuff.
It's
I
no
mean,
secret why they called him Perk Angle for a
no
reason.
secret at all why they called him Kurt Angle. It's crazy to think that the best ring work of Kurt Angle's career was Perk Angle, like late WWE, all through his through the
TNA
beginning of his
days.
TNA run. Just insane to think about. He was going through those type of trials and tribulations, but easily putting out his best work. That's the testament to how good of a worker Kurt Angle was, but also a testament as far as dark the dark path he was going through to still being able to go through that and now seeing where he is today. Just so definitely when you find a woman like that who can kind of help you center, but at the same time, at the end of the day, helps you center, but continuing to help you realize that you have to put this work in to make yourself a better person. Otherwise, there's no matter how much I try to center you, if you don't stay on the right path, it's not going to matter. So I definitely think he's on the good side of a tweener, but at the same time, Randy Orton is still Randy Orton. I mean, if you see interviews, behind the stage stuff, as far as like his not necessarily his attitude, but just like his demeanor and how he talks and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? He'll still like he get on X, he get on Twitter, he'll let one go.
But
One thing about Randy Orton, he ain't ashamed to speak his mind.
but
So
that's the beauty of it though. I mean, ego's not a
right.
bad thing of it
No,
because
no,
after all,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. But at the same time, it's like that's part of like what made the Randy Orton persona kind of what it was, even though it was like very troubled and very dark. It
but
was
but
that was
BRF, that's my point. It's
yeah.
kind of like with Shawn Michaels. Shawn
hmm
Michaels, even though he's turned around his life and career, he still has a little bit of that edge
He's
of what
got
he
that
was.
edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't tread on me.
Don't, exactly. And honestly, that edge is what made the performers, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton. That's what made the performers so great, was having that edge. That's what made them who they are. That's what made them stand out, and that's what made them into the greatest that have ever done it. Um, but yeah, but also it's just the dedication. Now it's like now you see all the young guys in the wrestling business. They go up to Randy, they pick his brain, they ask for advice, get questions, and all that other stuff. And there was a time before, but now he appreciates this business so much more now, and you can kind of see it in his face. Even when he went through this run, like WrestleMania, when he finally turned heel, and he went to the dark side on Cody. You could still see it in his face when he made some of his entrances, how how he just appreciates everything so much more. It's like, and Randy being one of the greatest heels to ever do it, you have to be like in your mode at all time. But in certain entrances, especially that WrestleMania one, you could kind of see it. It kind of hit him a little bit, and you develop appreciation for the person when you see that person appreciating everything he's been through and where he is today. You develop that appreciation more for him. So it's kind of is one of those where we can now look at Randy Orton, and the good thing about it is he's supposed to be coming back soon. Like the rumor is him and Drew McIntyre, for that matter, they're supposed to be coming back soon. So hopefully we get a little more out of him. We enjoy this run because we don't know how much longer we're going to have of him. So as fans, we definitely want to appreciate what he's got left, what he's going to bring to the table, because he obviously still has more in the tank. So I'm definitely can't wait for him to come back. But I just with Randy Orton, it's just one of those things where you look at when you look at an individual like him, and you just learn to love and appreciate, and just respect, just the grind and the work, and now you see it on a day to day basis with his kids, how good of a dad he is, how good of a husband he is, just all the work and just all of the focusing and the just everything that you want you want men to do in terms of putting the family first and centering everything around them. So as a in particular with me as a girl dad myself, I got number respect for that. I got number respect and admiration for that. And you can't help but love. You can't help but have nothing but love for the brother, and you just want him to keep going and keep doing what he's doing. Like there aren't a lot of guys I want to meet personally on a personal level and get to pick their brain. Randy Orton is one of them. So shout out to him, and you just hope for his sake, and us being fans, he keeps it going. I can't wait to see what we got left of him. I can't wait to see what we got left, because if we know Randy Orton in terms of this wrestling business, he's got one sick run left in him. So I can't wait.
All right. That's a really good one. And also too, shout out to the great Jim Cornette, because in Ohio Valley Wrestling, Randy Orton was also there, Dave Batista was also there, Shelton Benjamin, Brock Lesnar, and of course John
Oh,
Cena.
the famous
So
class of 2002. Oh
too.
my gosh.
And but as far as heels is concerned, outside of Triple H, he's one of my favorite heels, especially with the mic skills and how vicious that he was, man. But Randy Orton, I say tweener to undisputed world champs point. I mean, he brought up a great point. That's why great minds always think alike. But and one last one. I think he's a babyface. I don't know how some people may feel about it. Rest his soul, Steve McNair.
Oh man, it's amazing how one mistake can alter how people feel about you. I still say babyface. And if you watch the untold version of that, it just goes to show you, young men, if I could tell you anything, don't let think with your brain. Don't think with your body parts. Think with your brain. Every person has a flaw, but unfortunately, his wound up being his undoing because not everybody's emotion can't handle what you may be on. I still think he's a babyface regardless of the controversial way that he died. But the thing is, that serves as a lesson to all of us. Like, bro, watch what you're doing. Watch the things that you do. Watch the things that you let tempt you. And the thing was with Steve McNair, this dude was so mild mannered, you wouldn't even suspect that of Steve McNair.
Mm-mm.
When I was watching the Untold documentary and they was saying how he got around, if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to that Tupac song, I Get Around. He got around. So you would never suspect that from a guy that mild mannered. Rarely. I mean, the guy was so humble that he heard a fan say, "Damn, I just lost $100 because of that goddamn Steve McNair." I'll never forget. He said that Steve McNair heard what he said, turned around and gave him $200. He said, "What's this for?" He said, "Yeah, man, Steve, I'm Steve McNair. I cost you your $200. Here your $200 is." This was before FanDuel. This was before the little parlay sites. Shout out to Kia, by the way. Kia Parlay, by the way. So this was before the parlay sites. This was before all of that. So the fact that he was able to be a black quarterback in the South and be the first black quarterback to win an MVP.
Yes, he won it in 2003 with
Let me
Peyton
say that
Manning.
one more time. Let me bring this mic closer to my fat lips. He was the first black quarterback in order to win an MVP, not the Pro Football Players Association MVP. I'm talking about the Associated Press MVP. And he won it with Peyton Manning in his division. Yeah. This was in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that and put that into perspective. The NFL up until that point had been alive for over 75 years. They had high caliber black quarterbacks in this league. Randall, Warren Moon, Jeff Blake, you name them. Donovan McNabb. And he was the absolute first and was one of the first Heisman finalists that came from an HBCU in modern history.
Shout out
Alcorn
Alcorn
State.
State.
Shout out to Alcorn State. And another thing people don't talk about, he came to the Tennessee Titans
The
at a
Houston
time,
Oilers at one point.
huh?
Remember the Houston Oilers? Remember
Yeah,
back
they were
then
at,
when they
yes, they were in between playing in Vanderbilt and playing in Tennessee. They didn't have a home for the first 2 seasons that he was there. He got drafted in 96. They didn't have a home. So think about the transition that he had to go through. Going from the Houston audience to Tennessee, not having a stadium for the first couple years there, having Jeff Fisher as his coach, sitting behind the first player to probably throw a Super Bowl in history, that being Neil O'Donnell. Sitting behind Neil O'Donnell. Yes, that game was fixed. I don't care what anybody says. Super Bowl 30 was fixed. The fix was in. Somebody got rich that night. But I digress. Sitting behind Neil O'Donnell, finally getting your team to a Super Bowl, facing the Baltimore Ravens every single year in the playoff, finally getting over the hump, only to run into the Patriots, being one of the faces of the league. Regardless of the way he died, man, hey, Steve McNair wasn't, he had that one DWI, but for the most part, you kind of didn't hear a peep out of him his entire career. And it's hard to do that, especially when you're a black quarterback, because everything you're doing, people don't like to hear that, but it's true. Everything you're doing is under scrutiny, and people will even fucking lie about stuff you're doing, even when you're doing everything the right way. Remember, old dumbass Dan Orlowski, he was lying on damn Lamar Jackson saying he's not in minicamp. They got pictures of him being in minicamp. That's the type of shit that you have to deal with as a black quarterback. People lying in order to create narratives about you. I remember something Warren Moon said. He said, I couldn't even be seen meeting with my psychiatrist. I needed a psychiatrist during my playing years to deal with all the stuff that I had to deal with on the field. So what I used to do, I used to meet with my psychiatrist, go up the stairs and go down in the basement in order to meet with her. Otherwise, people might accuse me of being weak, because back then, mental health, as far as keeping your mental health, wasn't as prevalent as it is nowadays. Back then, somebody saw you meeting with a psychiatrist, they automatically thought you needed to be institutionalized, unfortunately. I lived through that era. They thought that people need to be institutionalized. You got to go see a therapist. You must need to be institutionalized. No, motherfucker, I'm stressed. So that's how it was viewed back then.
I know.
I grew up with that era. I mean, me and you both grew up in that era, BRF. They would look at you like, what the fuck? Do you realize how stressed I am? I mean, even in the military, they used to look at you when guys used to go see the psychiatrist, to go see the mental doctor, they used to say, oh, he has to go see the wizard. That's what they used to call the psychiatrist and the therapist in the army. Yeah, he got to go see the wizard today. So yeah, and they thought that if you had, that was considered weak. So he couldn't even be seen meeting with his psychiatrist in order to deal with the stuff that he had to deal with, being a quarterback in the NFL under all of that scrutiny. So him being a black quarterback down south, he couldn't be seen taking a drink. He had to have the perfect home life. He couldn't do any of that. Warren Moon went through the same things that Steve McNair went through. Running camps for the kids. Remember, a lot of these guys who he ran camps for, ended up becoming professional quarterbacks in the NFL. Vince Young being the poster child for that. Vince Young and
Obviously.
Troy Smith going to Steve McNair's camps. So I put Steve McNair as a tweener, not as a tweener, but as a babyface, excuse me, simply because of the fact that, hey, one mistake can cost you your life, but at the same time, I can't look at that one mistake and say that was so egregious and just say, hey, that was so egregious that it cannot be forgiven. Because at the end of the day, your decision only hurt you at the end. It affected people emotionally, it affected your family around you, but at
But it
the end
cost
of
you
the
your
day,
life.
but it cost you your life, but it affected you for the most part. It affected you. And when your mistakes affect you, and you're not out here committing crimes, and you're not out here getting in trouble with the law, you're not out here beating people up and being abusive to people, you're out here being abusive to women. Guess what? Your mistake cost you at the end. But it did not affect a multitude of people like some of these guys be doing. So I can't put him as a tweener or even a heel. I got to put Steve McNair as a baby face. Granted, one mistake can cost you your life, but that one mistake shouldn't be the definition of what defined him.
Well, champ, the reason why he is a babyface because you didn't really hear any much controversies from Steve McNair in his career.
No,
He was pretty much humbled and mild mannered for the most part. And regarding the murder incident, what did he do that led to him being assassinated like that? Again, it's not like Steve McNair committed DV or SA or
no.
anything like that. For the most part, he just was mild mannered.
Temptation. Temptation.
Temptation, but still, did that warranted him to cost his life? No.
No.
That should be on the person who committed the crime. This is not a situation like with Chris Benoit where one mistake. Chris Benoit, if I recall correctly, before he took out his own life, he took out his wife and his child.
Yeah.
Steve McNair can't be associated with something like that.
No.
But when you look
Hell
at
no.
Steve McNair, went to an HBCU, Alcorn State. Hey, you were one of the guys for the Tennessee Titans, although they didn't win the championship, but the Music City Miracle, the game with the Buffalo Bills, what he means to the community, what he means to black quarterbacks in terms of how to lead by example on and off the football field. I mean, if you're talking about quarterbacks conducting themselves the right way, black quarterbacks outside of Russell Wilson and Warren Moon, can you name someone better than Steve McNair?
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams, yes.
Doug Williams. And look, a lot of the black quarterbacks conduct themselves.
No,
When
they
you
do,
look
but
at,
but but
yeah,
but but, but the
the
reason why
poster
I
child
say
for him, yeah, the
but
poster child for him
but
is
but that's my point, champ.
Russ,
Because
McNair, Warren Moon,
and Doug Williams.
and
But
Doug Williams.
because when I say because with Steve McNair, because to your point, and we talk about not just with black quarterbacks, with black people all the time, you can't do what certain things what white people do and think it's
And
going to
still
be
keep
all
your job.
good. And when you look at Steve McNair, did you hear him say anything controversial? Did you
No,
hear him spending money like crazy or anything like that? Did you hear him get into any other off the field issues or anything?
no.
No, for the most part, I mean, it did help that he is from the South, and you know how in the South how you have to
Yes.
behave and handle things a certain way compared to living up north. But he had to he had the discipline. As you said earlier, champ with Randy Orton, with the military, you have to have the discipline, the wherewithal, and
Humbleness.
understand what the circumstances are. And I
Yeah.
think Steve knew and understood the circumstances are because being a black quarterback down south in the Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, and also and also too, man, that year when and he had some playoff success with the 99 Super Bowl run. Unfortunately, people will always bring up the 1 yard play, but the year when before he won the MVP, they went to the AFC Championship game, and then unfortunately they lost to Oakland.
Yeah.
But Steve McNair, for the most part, man, just because of what he means to black culture, and how to conduct and handle themselves the right way,
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious it's a baby face.
Yeah.
And when he died, I mean, a lot of people were shocked. Even people like Ray Lewis and Brett Favre even attended his funeral.
Yeah. Vince Young spoke at his funeral, talking how much of a hero that he was.
Yeah.
And like I stated, I don't think that should be any tarnishment on what he did. Like I said, one mistake can cost you everything. You only get a minute to pray and a second to pass away, unfortunately. But the thing is, throughout his life, he conducted himself with class. Like I stated, it wasn't anything like he was out here hurting everybody. He was out here beating and being abusive and doing all type of nonsense like that. It's just that the mistakes and the habits that you develop, unfortunately, were your undoing. And unfortunately, the people who you leave behind have to feel the brunt of that. And man, that's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate demise, but at the end of the day, guess what? His attaboys eclipses his aw shit. And for me, the only trouble that he ever got into was that DUI, which that could happen to anybody. You could, you know, have a drink or two and get a DUI. But that was the only thing that he ever did wrong in his career. But when you think about everything else that he's done, nah, one mistake doesn't undo that.
BRF.
Steve McNair is a babyface for me. I mean, Steve McNair, like at the peak of his powers, at the quarterback position, if you want to talk about like the personification of what a leader was, it's more than like 9 times out of 10, there'd be a picture of Steve McNair. I mean, just everything he did for the Tennessee Titans franchise, all the AFC Championship games leading them to the Super Bowl, but not just on the field, but off the field. I mean, nobody had a bad thing to say about that man. He carried himself in such a high manner with so much class and dignity and so much respect. Um, just he did everything the right way, and he was one of my favorite players to watch. I can almost assure you, he was one of a lot of people's as far as like favorite player to watch, just because of what he could do on the field, his ability to throw the ball, his ability to run, kind of being part of that evolution of the quarterback position, being a dual threat. But like his ability to play through injuries, his ability to just withstand whatever got in front of him, to still go out and lead and play well and win football games. Steve McNair is the personification of what a leader on the football field is. And it's just the situation that caused his death is just unfortunate, and just one of those things where just kind of freak things and stuff like that unfortunately can happen, and it can cost you your life, and which it did for him. And it's a shame, because I really feel like he was really kind of beginning to craft the final little piece of what I thought was going to be a Hall of Fame career for him. And I felt like it was going to be a given, he was going to get there. And it's just unfortunate that he didn't get to live to see it through, and to see it finish. But yeah, Steve McNair is a babyface. I mean, just the total personification of what it means to be an NFL quarterback, what it means to be a person on and off the field, and just so much respect for what he did. And like you said, being highly sought after quarterback as he was, coming out of an HBCU, coming out of Alcorn State, and then to really cultivate the career that he made in the league, winning the co-MVP with Peyton Manning. Like I said, all the AFC Championship games, the rivalry the Tennessee Titans built with the Baltimore Ravens, arguably the best rivalry in the National Football League at one point at its peak.
I
There
miss
were
them
very
days
few.
of Ray Lewis and Eddie George going at
Oh
it.
my God, that is one of the great linebacker running back rivalries I have ever seen this sport have to offer.
Bro,
Eddie George was Eddie
He
George.
and
I
he a
loved
big
Eddie
dude.
George.
He's about 6'3", 230,
6'3",
240.
225,
that
230.
dude was built up like a freight train, dude. And go back when the show's over. Go back. I hate to interrupt BRF. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
But since you brought that up, go back and look at the CBS build up. It was like a promo WWE video
Bro,
of Steve McNair and Ray Lewis. And Ray Lewis talking
amazing.
smack. And Steve
It was
McNair being his mile better
amazing.
as he is. He doing like this with his hat turned backwards. That's why I wear my hat backwards, because of him and Ken Griffey. Steve McNair used to have his hair backwards. So, he
It
do
was
it like this. He said, this
amazing.
time we close you up, Ray. And I'll never forget what Ray Lewis say. Hey, Steve, just remember this time I'm pissed off. And then they went into the game. Oh, it was the most epic. Who would have known that would have been the last? That would have been the last 2 years you would have saw of Eddie George and the Steve McNair era, because that game was the epitome of getting over the hump. I never forget the Justin McCarron's touchdown. Eddie George coming back at the tearing his shoulder out of the socket, coming back just trucking Ray Lewis all over the field. That was a game for the ages. And then, unfortunately, next week they had to go to Foxborough and play the Patriots. But go back and look at the buildup of that game between 2003, the Tennessee Titans versus the Baltimore Ravens in that wild card round. When they finally beat the Baltimore Ravens, you will see the greatest buildup ever.
What can you say? Like I said, I felt like though that rivalry, I felt like was peak. I felt like at the time that was the best rivalry in the sport.
Between the
And I know
Ravens and
some
the Titans in the early 2000s,
like
man, and
like
not
the
but
Packers.
not only that, champ, you forgetting Shannon Sharp as well too, because he was there from them early 2000s when the year when they won the Super Bowl,
when they
and
won the
we
Super
all know
Bowl.
Shannon Sharp loves talking his shit.
Boy,
And the
hey,
thing
trust
is,
me, as Falcons fans, we know Super Bowl 33. I was like, Ray Buchanan,
I
shut
blame that
up.
on Ray Buchanan.
I'm
That was
not,
Ray
but I'm
Buchanan's
no.
fault.
Hey, that ain't the point. I'm saying Ray Buchanan, shut up, because the last thing you want to do is get a player like Shannon Sharp, who's not exactly a chump when it comes to big time situations. Get him riled up. Just sometimes be quiet. Don't get me wrong, it
It was
was
Ray
entertaining.
Buchanan's fault.
It was entertaining. Don't get it twisted. It was funny. But no, like I felt like
So
because
you
like
thought
at
that
that
them dog collars was funny as hell?
that was hilarious.
I hated that
But
shit.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny because I mean nobody was picking Atlanta to beat Denver that year. It was funny. But I mean, even still though, like, Eddie George was probably very few, if he wasn't the only running back that would take a Ray Lewis shot, a tackle, would get up and literally get in this man's face. Like, okay, is that all you got? What all you got? This is peak Ray Lewis. What we talking about? This is 01, 02, 03. Like, this is like Ray Lewis, like his best football, and Eddie George is getting in his face like it's nothing. Like those Ravens Titans games was just, I'm telling you, man, it was the best rivalry in football. Those that 4 or 5 year period when it always felt like they would play each other in the playoffs, like nothing touched, and they were always physical. They were hard. I mean, they were hot. They were kind of higher scoring sometimes, but it wasn't like those shootouts where each quarterback was throwing for like 350 yards. They were earning every single bit of those points because they were lighting each other up and they were beating each other. I'm talking about some of the most physical games where each team would score like in the high 20s, but it was like some of the most physical football you will ever see. Like they were earning every inch of it and every bit of those points. And like I said, it was the best rivalry in my opinion in football at the time. And just like a guy like Steve McNair being at the forefront of all that, and finally getting that win over Baltimore when it just never felt like Tennessee was going to beat them in the playoffs, like that AFC championship game where Ray Lewis, where Steve McNair throws the screen to Eddie George, and then Ray Lewis just guesses it and jumps at it correctly, gets the pick, takes it to the house, and win the game. Just so many moments that was on Baltimore side, and then for Tennessee to finally get it done is like just a like even though they lost to New England the next week you couldn't help but just feel like, okay, it's like, okay, win or lose, they're probably happy now because they put Baltimore out. So regardless of what they did against New England, they eliminated Baltimore. So I'm pretty sure they're good. They're gonna try to win, but yeah, man. But Steve McNair, like I said, babyface, just the sheer personification of what a true quarterback and what a leader is. RP Steve McNair, just a personification of what a leader should be in the National Football League.
Absolutely. And speaking of personification, now to one of my topics I wanted to dive on. Favorite Cat Williams moment. Without question, without a doubt, it has to be the Shannon Sharp interview that he did 2 years ago. Especially when he was roasting Cedric, the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, especially on how he got the role for Money Mike on Friday After Next. Um,
that man called Steve Harvey a country bumpkin that couldn't read that good. Like,
he called Cedric. He over there looking like a walrus. He can't even get his arms up.
Looking like a raw. Bro, that was. But
I'm sorry. I know I'm gonna get hell for this, but when he talked about Michael Jackson and Chris Tucker, he named it Christmas. Christmas. You never know anybody.
You having a natural allegiance to losers. That's not like you.
Cat, go ahead. Cat Williams, the one thing
that is one of my favorite lines I have ever heard anybody drop in any moment of time. He looked at Shannon Sharp dead in the face. You having a natural allegiance to losers. That's not like you. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Just cut the TV off.
Now, in fairness to Cat Williams, though, he was speaking the truth. Particularly how he talked about how Cedric the Entertainer stole a joke from him. And how my other favorite line, I would have bust Cedric's stomach up. That was my other favorite line, which he talked about. And everything that Cat Williams said was true about Steve Harvey stealing Mark Curry's format. Because remember, Mark Curry had the show Hanging with Mr. Cooper in the 90s. And then Steve Harvey used the exact format for his show. So he exposed the truth. He exposed everything about the business. He even came to the defense of Ice Cube because the rumors about Ice Cube not paying. Well, he said, well, the ungrateful bastards talk about whoever doesn't get paid enough from Cube. You shouldn't even be talking to them. It's kind of like going to a good thrift store and looking at all this stuff. Like, look at all this cheap ass shit. Why don't you shut up? Why don't you shut up? So I love that from Cat Williams. And what's so unique about him, he adopted 7 kids. He has a total of 10 kids. And, for him to be doing the type of work that he does as a comedian and to be on the tour, traveling and taking care of 10 kids, that is crazy to handle. But hey, he can do it. But for a little guy, he's got a lot of heart, and he's not afraid to say what's on his mind, and he's gonna keep it real with you, and he's not gonna allow you to lie to his face. The other thing that was really interesting, in which he talked about Ricky Smiley, how he put a clause in his contract stating he would never work with Ricky Smiley again unless he wore a dress in a movie. Which, by the way, Ricky Smiley did do, because after Friday After Next, he did do the movie First Sunday that Ice Cube, Tracy Morgan, Cat Williams starred in. And yes, Ricky Smiley did wear a dress. And my favorite line from him was, to be confident and not delusional is a real skill. It's always important to have confidence within yourself, but you don't want to get to the point where you become too delusional. But when you look at Cat Williams, all of his other work, I mean, of course, him being on Wild 'N Out, that was good. Him being on Comic View, I mean, Money Mike, of course. The track of Pimpin' All Over the World, pimpin'. So I love that. Him and Luda, when they did One More Drink. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but how he talked about Martin Lawrence with Big Mama's House. When they handed him the script for Big Mama's House 2, he said, I almost died. When he talked about the script and everything else. And he was right about with Brandon T. Jackson, because Brandon T. Jackson admitted from that point when he did Big Mama's House, things went downhill for him. So, I mean, Cat, what I love about him is that he's raw, he's honest, he's authentic. But that interview, man, and then also how they tried to offer him the part for King of Comedy, and how he turned it down because he knew They were shitting on Bernie, and he felt like, you think after what you did to Bernie, you're gonna come do that to me? Fuck you.
It's
So
not what you said. It's just how you said it. You said
yeah.
it smooth as hell, didn't it?
Hmm. But he's smooth though. And shout out to our guy Dwayne. I'm always did you know that Cat Williams would get telling me a joke about Michael Jackson on his first comedy special? But shout out to
That's
our guy Dwayne.
probably that's
Go ahead.
probably one of the that's probably one of the only jokes that Cat probably regrets was getting on Mike because of the stuff that ultimately came out about Mike and then Mike dying. It's probably one of the only jokes he regrets, to be honest with you.
Look, the only issue I ever had with Cat Williams was when he talked about Martin Lawrence's health, especially at the time, because there was rumored that Martin had some type of stroke or whatever. My thing is, look, when if someone's dealing with a health situation or something like that, I don't think that's something that you should discuss or touch on, though. Because look, and even Martin, to his credit, has given Cat Williams his respect. So to hear it from an OG like Martin, that does mean something. But Cat Williams, man, funny, 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 and how smooth he is with his voice. Watching First Sunday. I mean, have y'all ever watched that movie First Sunday? Because I've watched it like multiple
I've
sets.
It's
seen it.
hilarious.
It's amazing, bro. Man, I'm sitting here laughing because of why he can just go take it.
Bro, let me tell you
Go
something.
ahead, BRF. I'll let you
I
go.
don't you watch some of the comedians and you kind of hear the inflections in their voice and how they talk and all the other stuff. Cat Williams is one of those impersonations of voices I actually like to try to do because his voice is just so funny like this. You know, he just knows how to put it out there on a platter for everybody to hear, and he just gets it out there and he just lets everybody know what he feels. And I just he's unapologetic with it. He just knows how to a pimp named Slickback from the Boondocks, one of the funniest characters I've ever seen in my life. Like like oh my gosh, I'm trying to like that prayer he that prayer he said, like when he when he comes to the house and he's getting the girl back, and that prayer he says, dear God, please pray please pray for the soul of this bitch so that she knows and recognizes whose place, amen. Cat Williams is just Cat, Cat Williams. I feel like Kevin Hart would not be where he is today if Cat Williams had done a lot of those parts. Cat Williams was getting that run before Kevin Hart got that run because, quite frankly, some of the roles Kevin Hart played, Cat wouldn't do because he felt like he was selling out. But Cat Williams was the one getting that. He was about to get that run because his Norbit. You brought up First Sunday, but Norbit
Buy one
and
pin platter, get the whole bones free.
Money. I'm talking about, but Money Mike though. Money Mike Friday After Next. Oh my god. Oh, that scene at the Christmas party
Oh
in
God.
the bathroom
Oh
with
Lord.
Terry Crews. Boy,
Pimpin',
Pimpin',
pimping,
pimpin'.
pimping. Damon. Yes. You ever heard of the Nutcracker? Like, boy, oh my gosh, like that whole stretch of that movie where he had him by those pliers and then he walked him out the party and he walks to the sidewalk. Oh my gosh.
You know, I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this though. I know she passed away, but remember the interview he did with Rhonda Smith.
yeah.
Yes, I do. I do. I remember that, and I just remember how bad he got on her in that interview, and that was crazy
He did a
because
number on her.
he did, and because us being down here from Georgia, Wanda Smith was she was on V103 at the time,
Hmm.
Yeah.
so that That interview was played and replayed and
I'm
replayed
sorry.
and replayed some more. Like that was like one of the more infamous kind of, if you ever, like I'm saying, if you're curious and if you ever just want to hear someone just absolutely, Cat Williams, I think, really ended her career with that interview. The way he was getting on her,
She
and
was
it's
never
just
the same after that.
Yeah.
she was absolutely really never the same after that. And RP to Wanda Smith, because I tell you, Wanda, and it's not like Wanda Smith wasn't funny, because I listen to her on V103 all the time during the Frank Ski morning show. Shout out to Frank Ski, by the way. I laughed my butt off with some of those segments and some of the moments that they had on that show, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I laughed my butt off listening to some of that. I mean, it's one of the better morning shows that radio station has had at V103. But yeah, Cat. I mean, just honestly though, we talk about the movies with Cat. Cat Williams is one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time. I
Mm.
mean, Pimp Chronicles Part One, American Hustle, which is the Pimp Chronicles Part Two.
Let's not forget Boondocks.
Oh, I already brought up a pimp named Slipback.
Yeah, yeah.
A pimp named Slipback should needs to be immortalized and picture framed and just appreciated for how good of a character he was. He was hilarious. I'm talking about that the first time you meet him, when he's waiting in the car and he's like, I'm gonna count, and if you ain't there in time, I'm gonna drive off. And this man literally drove off and left this woman, and this woman is literally running in high heels trying to catch this car. this, this woman is in high heels trying to catch this car. I mean, just
Remember,
like,
remember how he talked about his Netflix specials compared to Cedric the Entertainer's. He said they are his movies or stuff is so bad they're not even shown on Netflix or Tubi.
or Tubi. Like, oh, like the Pimp Chronicles Part One is one of the greatest specials I've ever seen. Like I can almost just about recite that comedy special word for word. That's how that's how good it was. Cause that was the one he did in Atlanta. I mean, when the movie starts, it's him and Snoop sitting in the back of the sitting in the back of the caddy, and Snoop doing his thing, and then they go to all the behind the scenes stuff, and then they get to the show, and they get to the show. That man was on fire from the first joke all the way to the end. You knew that show was gonna be good. I'm trying to remember which line was it. It was a line he said. Oh yeah, he was talking about the hairdresser. He was talking about the hairdresser in Atlanta. You knew what type of show it was gonna be. First off, I would like to thank all the hairstylists in Atlanta. Is 97 of you. Like one more you women asked to do my goddamn hair. I mean, it was great. What he say? I'm trying. Nah, your hair retain heat. What the? I done had this hair all day. It ain't burned me yet. What is you talking about? just I mean, just like I said, I think if Cat Williams really wanted to really, get some of these roles that Hollywood was offering him, we probably wouldn't know Kevin Hart. Like I'm being dead honest. I'm being dead honest. So, but yeah, Cat Williams is Cat Williams has got too much. He's one of my favorite comedians ever. He got too much stuff. Like I said, all the stand ups, the movies, especially Friday After Next. Just Cat
Also,
boy.
let's not forget when he played Bobby Shaw on My Wife and Kids.
Man.
He made Damon Wayans break on that show so many times it ain't even funny. Ooh.
Mm.
Big fella.
Man, y'all look, it's hard to come, but that's how come I don't like talking behind y'all, because y'all steal the damn show when y'all talk, because y'all gonna bring out the heat. That's why I love working with y'all. But my favorite moment is when he and Kevin Hart squashed the beef, man. That was my favorite moment, man. I understand that the Shannon Sharp interview is gonna get the most headlines because everybody loves drama. God bless the dead. He called himself the drama king for a reason. K Slay. because he knew people love drama. But I think when you are able to put things behind you and people are able to admit they're fans of yours, although professionally you've been competitors, I think that's bigger than anything else. I think the Larry King special that he asked them, the Larry King special, where he asked them a series of questions, I think that was very, very touching. You know, especially I think the greatest thing, I think when Larry King said that's the best answer that anybody ever gave me, he asked Cat Williams, if you were stranded on an island, who would you want to be there with you? And then Cat looked him dead in the eye and said, a good swimmer. And he said, nobody's ever given me that answer. So, go back and look at that. It's very, very touching. So, with Larry King and that interview with him, those are the top two, man. The comedy special. Shout out to none other than Hot Take Kenny. Shout out to Hot Take Kenny as we was first getting started. As I first got started being a guest here on the Sports PSP podcast, Kenny would frequent the show a lot, and he said how he had Cat Williams as being the greatest of all time as far as being stand up is concerned. So as far as Kenny was ahead of his time in saying things like that, long before these interviews came out, long before these specials came out, long before anything came out. Hot Take Kenny was the first to ever say something like that. He was on the bandwagon long before the world kind of caught up. So I got to give flowers to Hot Take Kenny in his scene because he's ever since a lot of this stuff has been come out with Cat Williams and about how he helped so many people. One of the comedians, I forget his name, came out and said when he got sick, Cat Williams paid for a lot of his bills and things of that nature, took care. A lot of people came out and has said that
He
Cat
also took
Williams
care of for Yvette Wilson. For those who may not know, who played Yvonne on The Parkers and on Moesha. Yvette, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So he took care of a lot of people. So big ups to Hot Take Kenny, man. He was ahead of his time saying that, and I got to give flowers to him because long before any of these interviews and anything came out back when we was first getting started. I remember Hot Take came up and said that. Now, do I agree with him on that? No.
No.
I have to, I'm gonna take my cousin every single time, Richard Pryor. Like I said, there's a lot of other comedians, Andrew Dice Clay, a lot of other great comedians. But as far as giving him his flowers for recognizing and pinpointing Cat as one of the top guys, I have to give Hot Take
He
Kenny his
did. He
credit for
did.
that.
He did call Cat his goat, didn't he?
Yes,
He
he
did.
did.
I
Yes, he
remember.
did. And we
Here's what.
disagree
Yeah.
with him strongly, but a lot of stuff that has come out since he said that, and as smart as Kenny is, he's validated in saying that. But as far
No,
as a lot of the things that he said, so
for
I
context,
got to give him
BRF.
flowers.
For context, BRF, we did like a start, bench, and cut between Eddie Murphy, Bernie Mac, and another comedian. I think it
And
was
Red
Red
Fox, Red
Fox.
Fox,
Yep, Red Fox. And he talked about how Cat Williams is the GOAT. And I said, better than Richard, better than Bernie, Eddie, Martin, Chris Rock, all the other comedians. So, in fairness to Kenny, he's been consistent
yeah.
about his Cat Williams take. Now, do I agree with Cat as the GOAT?
No,
No, I
he
don't.
no. I'll put my two cents. I'll put my 2 cents in real quick. No, he's not better than Richard. He's not better than Eddie.
What about Eric Spears?
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm just joking.
Stop it. Don't you ever.
I'm, no,
Don't you
did you
ever.
see his face?
Don't you
Why,
ever.
why would you entertain him with that
How
bullshit?
dare how dare you put Ari Spears in
No, I'm just
anything
asking.
in a goat conversation? Don't you ever do
Would you
even
say
if
he's
it's a
better
joke? Even if it's a joke, don't you ever joke like that again? I'm ashamed.
BRF, Cat
I'm
or
ashamed.
Cat or Martin?
Hmm.
I still go with Martin because of what he was
Mm,
able to do as far as like with wearing the dress and how he was
I
portraying
will.
different
Yeah, I
characters.
will. I'm gonna say. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't take. Okay, I'll try to do a line. I wouldn't take him over Richard. I wouldn't take him over Eddie. I wouldn't take him over Bernie. I wouldn't take him over Martin. I wouldn't take him over Dave.
Chris Rock.
Ugh. I might take him over Chris. I
That's
might.
fair.
I'll take. Yeah. I think once you go Richard, Eddie, Martin. Bernie, and Dave. After those five, we have conversation. I think Cat might be in. Cat's in that 6, 7, 8 as far as all time. Then we can start having conversation. Mm-hmm.
But the way he plays the pimp character, how smooth the voice is, but it has to be that interview on Club Shay Shay because it broke the internet. Like even Saturday Night Live, they even did skits on it and everything. I mean, what Cat Williams said was exactly true, and he had all the receipts, he had all the things, to verify and back up his argument. But
That part. Diddy likes to party, and you
yes,
You
got to
gotta
tell
tell him
him
no.
no.
no,
And like I said, all that stuff came out shortly after that.
You got
Validation.
to tell
After
him no.
validation. After validation. After
but
validation.
but but
I'm
but
like,
but
damn.
but Champ, it wasn't just also Cat Williams who also said that about Diddy. Orlando
Yeah.
Brown.
Hmm.
Who?
Orlando Brown. You remember Orlando Brown from
Oh,
that? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I, every time all the thing I think about when I think about Orlando Brown is him with that damn Dennis Rodman hat on, doing
Oh,
like this.
No, when I think of him, I think about that one where he's wearing the suit and they're doing those shows. They be talking to the girls and stuff, and then he's got the suit on, and the girl pop up, walk to him. She talked to him. Orlando look at her, use a hole, and just
Orlando Brown is one of the funniest guys. Like I said, him. There's a lot of stuff that Orlando Brown be doing that we can't say on the PSP podcast. We'll save it for the uncensored show. But oh my god, boy, Orlando Brown was funny ass dude, bro.
oh, because like I'm good for him for like trying to getting his life getting his life back together. Guys, we remember some of the interviews he did at one point. You could tell he was like in
Gone.
the darkest of
the
the
Dr. Phil
darkest,
one. The Dr.
the
Phil one
darkest
was
of dark
rough.
places. Yeah, the darkest of dark places, and kind of seeing him kind of take control. Because like when his head is on straight and he's like fully like right, funny ain't the word. Funny ain't the word. That man. Oh my gosh.
All right,
Atlanta.
fellas. One last one. I know he's a very controversial figure. Favorite Kanye West track. Again, we're just talking about Kanye West, the musician, not the person, not anything else. We're just talking about music, his
the
art.
the entire graduation album, bro.
I like the college dropout.
I do too. I think if you want to talk about peak runs, college dropout, late registration, graduation, I'll throw 808 and heartbreaks in, and then my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. It's one of the greatest 5 album runs you're ever gonna see from any artist.
Oh, then right after that, you got to say 6 album run because Watch the Throne came right after that. I mean, so
Yeah, Watch the Throne was in. Well, I don't. With it being him and Jay Z being a duet album, I don't really like including that one as much, even though it did have some really good, even though it was a good album. But I'm just talking about as far as solo, that 5 album run right there that I laid out, boy, it's it's hard. It's like you're talking about like pop culture period, like some of the greatest artists ever in terms of a 5 album run. Just
yeah.
oh,
Jesus Walks. I love Jesus Walks. All Falls Down, but through the wire.
mm-hmm.
I drink a boost for breakfast and
Yeah,
insure for
sure for
dessert.
dessert. Somebody
When they
order
order
pancakes.
pancakes, I
Yeah,
just
I
sip
just
the
sip the
scissor.
scissor.
That right there can drive
Cause
a
I would
sane
say,
man
man,
berserk.
dessert.
And then I love the other one. They thought I was burnt up like Pepsi did Michael.
I must got an angel.
Angel.
Cause look how death
If
missed his
missed his
ass.
ass,
Unbreakable.
unbreakable.
What you
What
thought
you
they
thought they
called me,
called me
Mr.
Mr.
Glass?
Glass?
Look
And I
back on my
still won't
life like
grow
the
up.
culture.
I'm a grown ass kid.
Yeah,
Swear
I
I
should
should be
look back
locked up for
like the stupid shit
doing
that I
stupid
did.
shit that I did.
Mm.
Oh man.
But But Kanye, I mean, one thing I loved about Kanye back then was them sweaters that he wore. Them sweaters. I love them sweaters with the belt and everything. I mean, he made it cool back in the day because a lot of days back then, dudes, we used to wear the throwback jerseys, the do rags, and the Tims. He was the more clean cut type of dude, but he was still rapping. But I gotta say the college dropout for me, and of course, Good Life with him and T Pain though. I love that track, Good Life. And
Yes.
then of course, Diamonds Are Forever, Gold Digger, Can't Tell Me Nothing, Flashing Lights. But there was one other track that he was in with Jay-Z. It wasn't from the Watch the Throne album. I can't remember the name of the song. It was old school though. It's one of the soundtrack. It was one of the songs for the NBA 2K12 soundtrack though.
Um, I'm thinking because because I know a lot of their work together was Watch the Throne. I'm trying to think what else.
Shout out the Bronx.
Run This Town. Run This
Yeah,
Town.
yeah, with him and Rihanna. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in the early 2000s. It was in
I'm
the early
trying. Yeah,
2000s.
I'm trying to think.
But Kanye, I gotta admit, man, he genius. I mean, with the
Mm-hmm.
production, the music. I mean, and then '07, he was on the. I did like his verse on the remix of Lollipop with him and Wayne. I did like that part though. So I mean, but Kanye, but Through the Wire for me. That's like my favorite track of it. I'm actually kind of surprised though that Shaka Khan didn't even like it.
I understood it because it did sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks just a little bit. My
It
mom
did.
even said that, but hey, how it sounds to previous
His
generation,
mouth was wired shut.
so it was crazy. But I like Kanye, man. Kanye, around the time I was in high school, like I used to say, I've said this is no secret. When I was wearing ties and shit, I'm so happy that he came out because he made that shit cool. So when I would
He
go
made
to
it
the mall,
relatable, and you made it feel cool to wear that
yeah,
shit.
especially them when Polo Bear first came out, man. When the Wimbledon, I used to love when the Wimbledon collection used to come out because I would be walking around the damn school like a damn tennis star. So I would be like, do you play tennis? Like, no, I don't. But I'm the damn lineman, but I got all this tennis shit on. But it was just cool, man. I wear that with my feelers, the Grant Hills and stuff like that. Hey, man, look, listen, Monster. Everybody knows I'm the so appalled. I think Cypher Prince had one of the best line ever in that song. I met this girl on Valentine's Day in May. She found out about April, so she chose to March. Damn, another broken heart with a Trojan in my pocket. Matt Liner. I was like, oh, Cypher Prince went in on that verse, bro. Devil in a New Dress. That was the best verse that up to date that Rick Ross had. Was Devil in the Blue Dress. Cause that was amazing.
Big Brother.
Yeah, big brother. My big brother was Big's brother. Used to be Dame and Big's brother. That was crazy. If you mind somebody, you should go ahead and tell them people never get the flowers like they can still smell them. Man, that was a deep verse because people never get their flowers why they can still smell them. Hell, most of us, especially us dudes, we won't get no flowers till we in the dirt. So let's just being real. Um, hey, remember that song he did with Freeway and Most Def?
Um, what's the name of that song?
Hey, I remember that song like it was yesterday. I think it was called hold on, let me go back. I'm on Apple Music right now because it was on College Dropout. Um
Oh yeah, I think I'll look it up for you, man.
no,
It
it
was
was
on the
on
College
College.
Dropout album
No, I think it was on Late Registration. Hold on.
with Most Def.
Yeah, Most Def and Freeway.
That feat that
Oh my
the
god,
the corner that feature with Common. I wish I could get this feeling. I
I
wish I
wish
could
I could
get this
get this
feeling.
feeling. Hey,
Let's
On the
not forget the
corner.
workout. Big fella, I know you because you in fitness and nutrition. The workout playing
The
video.
new
oh, I
workout
was I
plan.
was in that I was into that song for a whole lot of different reasons. What for muscle and fitness. So I was not in that damn song for muscle and fitness. So
well, I mean, I remember that music video, and I kind of
so
understand.
I never forget. Do you know that that video, that music video, is based on Mouse Hunt, the movie, right? That,
Yes.
that was based on Mouse Hunt, the movie. Look, drive slow, homie.
Yes.
Drive slow, homie.
Yes.
And y'all look, one of these Kanye verses, and wasn't even a verse. Remember that track that him and Ludacris in the game did? Where you at? The whole city behind us. Where
Oh
you
yeah, the
at? The
Boost
whole
Mobile
on Boost Mobile,
commercial.
yeah, on the Boost
Yeah.
Mobile phone.
Wouldn't get
Yeah.
far.
Yes.
Wouldn't get far. It's that crack music that
Oh
real
yeah, yeah,
rap.
that one too.
Nah,
That one
nah.
too.
I
Yeah.
love that by him in the game, man. Man, addiction. Well, everything that's supposed to be bad made me feel so good. Everything they said I wouldn't do is exactly what I would. It makes me smile. What's your addiction? Is it money? Is it girls? Is it weed? I've been conflicted with not one, but not two, but all three. It was that was
Mm.
crazy.
Let's not forget brand new with Rhyme Fest. That was Rhyme Fest's song.
Yes. Oh, let's not forget I'm calling. Maybe I'm
Yeah, maybe
selfish.
I'm
I
selfish.
Yes,
How
Slum Village.
yes.
do
Yes.
with John Legend.
I'm
Yes.
calling. Hey, shout out to one person who put me on Kanye. One person. They on vacation right now, but I'm gonna see them tomorrow when they get home. Shout out to Ace Mob, my sister. She put me on Kanye. She was like, "Look, since you love," and she used to make fun of me because I used to listen to up north rap a lot before she put me on, down south rap. I grew up in the MTV raps generation, so up north rap was the thing. And she said, "Since you're," and she used to make me mad when she say this because everybody used to know I hate the New York Yankees. But she said, "Hey, since your little Yankee ass love up north rap, I got somebody for you." And she had sent me a mixtape, bought me a mixtape on Southside Records. Listen to this dude, and when I heard it, it was like, wow, this dude is gonna make millions. I mean, Jesus Walks was good, and it was very, very much ahead of his time, man. And let's not forget We Major.
Yes.
Um, hey, I know it ain't his song. I know it was featured on his song, but remember down, down. We trying to make it down. Ooh,
Oh
with him and
yeah. Him and
Cameron.
Cameron. Him and Cameron.
Yes. Oh man, that was awesome, man. Look, guess who joined the jail tonight? I pull over and I got priors. It was hey, look, he had a point when he said there's a I know one thing, we all liars. People can say they're not liars, but you didn't lie at one point. You didn't either lie to make somebody feel better. You didn't lie at one point. We
How
don't
about
like
we can't
we
forget
don't
we
like
can't forget
lies. It's
we
not
can't
that we
forget
don't like lies. We like lies. We hate lies that don't benefit us. I always say that. I stand by that.
we can't
So
forget, even though it wasn't his song, it was Twister's. She said she wants some Marvin
Marvin
Gaye,
Gaye, a
Luther
Luther
Vandross,
Vandross,
a
a
little
little
Anita.
Anita, a Jackson
This
party, all
party, all right.
right. Uh, let's not forget about them skits, man. He has some of the best damn skits on his albums that you ever broke, five broke, bunch of five broke. We ain't got it. Remember when he said they had to eat the cereal with the fork so they could go and save the milk because they were so broke.
I will say this though. One of my favorite Kanye music videos, Fade, because of Tiana Taylor.
Yeah. Man. Uh one
Oh shoot.
one, you know what?
I got another feature. I got another feature that won his song that nobody's mentioned. That was like huge when it came out. Lamborghini
You
Mercy.
see,
Yo chick,
you
she
see,
so
she's so
thirsty.
thirsty.
Boy.
Yeah, that's the Cruel Summer album. That's the Cruel Summer album.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
my
the Good Music
god.
Cruel Summer album. That was a
Yeah.
compilation album.
God almighty.
Let's not forget
That whole song.
the song he
All
made with
for
Nas. The song he made with Nas. What 1 2 1 2. Some things say three, say three ain't true. I know I'm sounding ignorant as hell. I'm slurring my words, but when he came in, when he was talking about dreams, He's talking about the whole dream, and this kind of true because when somebody that you love dream about you doing something crazy, it's all of a sudden they act like you did it for real. We all know what we talk about. I ain't gonna go into it on the show, but how his girl found out she dreamt the whole thing out. When you go to sleep, what would you think out? When y'all get a divorce, she gonna take everything except the kitchen sink out, make it so cold, make you want to pull your mink out. So that was when him and Nas did Dreams. That was cool. I'll never forget his album release party was up here in Atlanta and at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That was an event I wish I could have gone to. However, hey, Stefan ain't got that kind of money to be paying $5,000 in order to get into a party. I catch it on YouTube, bro. But I people when they say there's a fine line between genius and insanity, I think that no two people epitomizes that better than him and Suge Knight. I don't think no two people epitomizes that fine line between being genius and insanity more than Suge Knight and Kanye. Because for all of his greatness, for him being the blueprint of how joint ventures should work in music business. Suge Knight was one of the first black labels as far as hip hop was concerned that got rights to the masters, that got big time contracts, who had big time artists on their labels and they were getting paid semi the right way. Well, they were supposed to be getting paid the right way. They got paid a lot of money on Death Row. They rebuilt an entire label. But when you think about all of the insane shit that he was doing on the other side of that coin, it was just wow. Same thing with Kanye. He was such genius with how he rewrote the game. He rewrote the game and showed everybody I don't have to be from the hood. I don't have to have this humble beginning of me slinging. I don't have to have this hustle background. I can be a college student that dropped out and have a bunch of things to talk about. I could be a genius. I could be in the fashion. I could be in the shoes. I could be into a lot of different things. I can be a great businessman and even exceed and match the person who put me on, that being Jay-Z. But that's when the insanity comes in because you said a lot of insane shit. So I don't think no two people blur the lines between genius and insanity more than him and Suge Knight. Because for all their genius, there was a lot of insanity that came along with that. People can call me wrong, but I think those two people personify. There's a fine line between genius and insanity, and when you're genius, you blur those lines a lot. You blur those lines. I mean, smart people. I've seen some of the smart people like, what the, it's just like, what was that about? That was weird. But I've seen some of the smartest people outside of PSP. He's the only smart person who I have not seen do no crazy shit in my life. Like trust. I see some of the smartest damn people do some of the craziest shit, and it's just like, what the fuck were you thinking when you did that?
So, wait a minute, is Kanye the hip hop version of Vince McMahon?
Yeah, like I said, him and Suge Knight, as far as music business is concerned, him and Suge Knight, there was that fine line that, like I said, a
Well,
lot of smart guys.
there's another hip hop mogul.
That's a whole nother fucking ball game. That I don't know what to say about
We'll
that dude,
just
but
we'll just say with
we'll
that
just
we'll just say
that's more
with
or
that
less
help.
you living out. I would say that's more or less you living out a dream that you don't want to come out of.
we'll
That's
just
not
say
insanity. I'm
we'll
talking
just say
about
that's
things
that
that
hip
you
hop
say,
mogul.
For
things that
another
you
time.
say, your actions, and how you react to people. I think that those two, him and Suge Knight, it's just like, damn, you smart, but damn, your ass is crazy. It's just like you would, like I said, you see some of the smart. I mean,
I think with Kanye from that point, no, and all jokes aside, when he lost his mother,
Yeah.
that's when things went downhill for him. That's when he
mhm.
started losing things in perspective. Um, a lot of people bring up the Kardashians as the reason for his downfall. No, Kanye
Mm-mm.
already had problems long before he was with the Kardashians.
He rapped
So,
about it in his music too. After his mama died, we knew
right.
he was going through stuff.
Yeah, when he went
So,
on my I put on for my city, you knew it was still hurting. And once
so
you lose that emotional compass, you're never really the same. I
yeah.
compare Kanye is kind of the music version of Mike Tyson when you losing your emotional compass. Because when you remember when Tyson lost Customato, although he had
Yeah,
a
Jimmy
I
lot of
like
Jacobs.
success after that.
I like that better than honestly personally. I think that's more
Yeah,
fitting with him than the Vince McMahon comparison. Mike Tyson, I think, is more fitting
yeah,
because of the heights he made before he lost that, like you said, that emotional
emotional
kind of
compass.
compass. And then once they lost that, you could just, even though they were still doing good, you could just see it gradually kind of fall.
Yeah, and
But
And then when
it's
Vince,
it
a
hit rock
sad
bottom, it hit.
but the
and it's a
reason
sad
why,
deterioration.
but the reason why I wouldn't rule out the necessary Vince though, Kanye, just like Vince, said some crazy shit. Like when remember when he impersonated himself as the gangster Vince by wearing the
Oh
do
God.
rag and stuff. He's like, "What up, Holmes? What up, G?" And then
I
let's
let he I can't the fact that he even booked himself to win the ECW championship at the time. Like, what are we doing?
that was horrible. And then I know, champ, your mom's is no fan of Vince McMahon,
His mom has
especially when he did the Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Amen, Amen. The backlash match between
oh
Shane
my
and
God,
Vince.
bro. I damn near got banned from the house that time. Because I'm sitting there watching Backlash and mom came in there and saw that shit. She was like, here come that crazy ass. I can't say exactly what she said, but my mom being from the South and all, she is from Alabama. So she came in the house, so she said, that old crazy ass McMahon again, at it again. but it's just like I said, it's like a Mike Tyson downward spiral. Although you're hitting these magnificent heights. Remember when Mike Tyson came home from prison, he was making more money out of prison than he did before he went in.
Oh
But
yeah, but obviously,
without Customato there,
and Jim
much like
Jacobs.
Kanye without his mom there, it was just a lot of blur. Like I said, the genius part and the insanity part that kicks in, it's just unfortunate, man. You hate to see a person that really rewrote the game. Like I stated, it wasn't cool to rap about Jesus. It wasn't cool to rap about that. I mean, it wasn't cool. People didn't make songs about Jesus and religions and how Jesus saved you from our sins. You know what I'm saying? It was unpopular in the music business for you to do that. Like I said, he said in the song, they said you can rap about anything except for Jesus. So that was
I
unpopular then. And guess what? It was unpopular during the time where the gangster age was really at its peak. Everybody was wearing throwback jerseys. Everybody was wearing their pants, baggy. Everybody had their jabos on. You remember the jabos? Everybody had
Hmm.
their grill in. Kanye West came in and changed the game up. I'm gonna wear these suits. I'm gonna dress up like a college mascot. I'm gonna dress up like a college kid that's going to a frat party. And guess what? It was successful. So
I
that's
think
crazy.
Kanye to me is more AB
Well, what?
because Antonio Brown. I think Kanye is more Antonio Brown.
I won't go that
No,
damn
I
far.
mean Kanye
Mm-mm.
has said some crazy, outrageous things, and we
Saying
can't
some
discount.
crazy, outrageous things and doing some crazy, outrageous shit is two totally different things.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Kanye is dealing with some accusations that we can't get into all the specific details and stuff. But the reason why I say it's not that far off because again, Kanye, his mind is up there. Mike Tyson, I understand in terms of the career, but the reason why I can't necessarily say it with Mike, Mike has redeemed himself. Mike, ever
Yeah,
since has found peace in his life and has turned around his life so far. Kanye, I hope for his sake he finds that. But it's going to be hard for him to be forgiven considering the things he said about the Jewish community, considering the things he said about, slavery being a choice and everything else. We understand the mental health issues, we understand losing the mother and stuff, but bro, when
I
you
still,
say
I
all
still,
this,
I still don't let him off the hook for what he said about the slavery comment. I still don't let him off the hook about that.
I don't
I,
either because considering the fact that your mother, rest her soul, you know his mother was a black college professor.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
but
given the fact that you should know about your history, given the fact that your mother is a black college professor, how can you sit there on with a straight face and say slavery was a choice? But I think you could say you could say AB because just like AB, you give him a microphone, you give him a platform, he's gonna say something crazy or outrageous.
yeah. To his point, I will say this, and I'm no way or form of fashion excusing what he said, but he did point back to the point of Harriet Tubman and what she stated. She stated, I freed hundreds of slaves, but I would have freed thousands if they knew they were slaves. That's the comment that he was trying to reference. Now he went about it in a very ignorant ass way because it's just that's what Kanye does. But the comment that he was trying to reference that he later came out and said it was that, you know, I freed hundreds of slaves in the great words of the late Harriet Tubman, but I would have freed thousands if they knew they were slaves. I think he came out and said that, but by the time he cleared that up about what he was trying to say, he had already made himself look like a jackass in front of millions of people. And
Well, he already lost it from the point when Van Lathan had to confront him with all that shit. But
yeah, so he had already lost that battle. But I wish that I'm hoping that one day. But the thing is, he says a lot of crazy stuff about his life, about his mother, a lot of things. But you get into a lot of things about his mind. You wonder how poisoned his mind really is from the industry. Because you got to ask yourself, what makes you go from being this guy where your mind is just on creativity, creating, being building and everything. What makes your mind go from that to click clack all the way left like that? I don't know what may have snapped in your mind. I mean, it's kind of
the
like the
exposure,
professor.
the
It's kind
exposure
of
of Hollywood. I think the
it's kind of
exposure.
like the Professor X effect. Y'all remember in X Men Days of Futures Past? If your mind goes back so far, it'll eventually snap, and it's hard to get you to snap back. That's like when they sent Wolverine back. So
I
that's the
think.
thing. I wonder what caused him to crack like that. And I
I think.
believe it's a series of things. I don't think it's just one thing.
I think, champ, it has to do with the culmination of Hollywood because we all know how crazy Hollywood is. I mean,
Holly weird. Holly weird.
Holly, oh my dear. But when you think of, but also too, losing the mother, because when
Yeah.
you lose someone that close to you, it's hard for you to move on. You're probably never the same after that.
Yeah.
And and also people around him, because when you surround yourself with people who tell you what you want to hear rather than what you need to know, you're just setting yourself for a world of trouble. So with Kanye, but look, two things could be true. Despite all the things he has said and done, I'm still not I'm still going to listen to his music. Like I said before, you can respect the art, not the person. I say that with a lot of people. R. Kelly, regardless of what you want to say about that man as a person, as a human being, when it comes to his music, he's one of a kind. Wrestling, Chris Benoit, regardless of what he did, I still admire and respect him as an art, as a wrestler. Two things can be true.
Yeah.
If people want to take it the wrong way, that's up to them. But at the end of the day, we can respect the art, not the person. And I think people just need to understand and realize that it's really not that hard. It's
Yeah,
really
man.
not that hard.
Man, I love having these discussions with y'all every Friday night, man. It is awesome as hell, bro. It's awesome as hell. And I'm grateful to be here every single Friday, man. It's having these discussions and deep discussions. It's is it's 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 awesome, man.
We're real and we love entertaining the audience. and we don't put up no bullshit shows. Jada Pinkett Smith. But I had to throw that in there. Sorry. But that concludes the rest.
You're gonna get us kicked out the damn industry
Well,
before we even get in that
hey,
motherfucker.
hey, let me tell you, but real quick though, before we go off, no, when y'all were talking about moguls and everything like that, and he brought up the one that we weren't necessarily going to name, and I was getting ready to say, well, hey, well, we're not going to worry about him because he slid across that bridge a long time ago.
It was well documented. People knew.
Yeah, slid.
But
Catch the joke. Slid.
But to wrap up the show, BRS Sports, I'll let you have I'll let you say what you got to say, man. What's your final words before we wrap up?
Always a pleasure to come on this show with you guys and have fun and do what we do, and I appreciate it because y'all allow me to be me. Y'all let me be me because y'all know, I'm, sometimes I tell people all the time when I'm at work, like the filter between my brain and my mouth ain't what it necessarily used to be. And that could be a good thing. And sometimes that could be a bad thing. But honestly though, at the end of the day, y'all let me be me. Y'all let me be me. And I think that's why I appreciate coming on the show, because it's like just like another kind of like, I guess a fun factor as far as why I like enjoy doing the show so much. So shout out to y'all guys for always a pleasure being on here and sharing the spotlight with y'all, and just continually doing this and having a blast, and just hopefully hitting some goals. We gonna continue to do this show, and hopefully we hit some goals, whether more extra special promotion, or maybe getting to the point where it's like we turn into a piggy bank, we turn into a money tree, just goals. But at the end of the day, doing what we enjoy to do should be at the forefront of everything. So I'm just happy to be on. And as always, to my people out there, a topic not thought about is a topic not talked about. Always appreciate the support. If you're in the chat, thank you so much for being on. And it's just, hey man, it's just a fun ride, and I'm just enjoying being a spoke on the wheel.
Big fella.
So, man, now that we out of character, but it's always good to be here, man. Always good to be here. Always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to be here. Um, man, Friday nights always special, man. Every Friday is a special night, and I enjoy being here every Friday night, man. It's I call it the highlight of Friday nights out of you know selfishness, because this was the highlight of the week for me for a lot of times. Still to this day. Nothing may not be going on. Ain't no clubbing no more. But you get to come here with your buddies and you get to have healthy discussions about a lot of different subjects. And that's why I always nickname it. That's why I nicknamed it a long time ago the highlight of Friday nights. Because Friday night was a highlight every time I ever came on the show. And even when I was watching at certain points during the early stages and I couldn't come on, it was always a good thing to be, good place to be. Being in that environment, it's kind of like being in the studio. I understand how artists feel when they're in the studio, collaborating and doing certain things. You're trying to build that creativity up and do different things. So I'm so grateful to be able to do that and just be on the show every single week and be able to entertain, make people laugh, educate people, and let them see a different side of each and every last one of us, man. And it's always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor, man. Every day above ground is a hell of a good day. And when I get to use my voice and talk about sports, talk about entertainment, talk about music, talk about comedy to make people's day better, that's a big highlight for me, man. So I salute to everybody out there. Drink responsibly. Um, US was up 3-0 in the World Cup. Look out, baby, look out. So, hey man, look, shout out to everybody, all the different nationalities that are in the state of Georgia and the state of Alabama right about now for the World Cup, all the different stadiums and things of that nature. Uh, hey, we enjoying y'all presence here, man. Have fun while you're here, man. We got a lot of good stuff down here for you to enjoy. Because I've been seeing how the overseas people have been reacting to the food down south and things like that, and it's a ball. It's a ball. So shout out to Sports PSP 160K doing your thing as always. Shout out to Mama PSP. Without you, Mom, a lot of this would not be possible. And most of all, the wonderful and magnificent, my greatest friend outside of PSP, the lovely D. Holla at your boy. You know what it is.
Absolutely. Shout out to the beautiful D. Also give a quick shout out to the Kia. Her birthday is this weekend. So please
Yes.
make sure y'all say happy birthday and please go like and follow her on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, any social media platform she is on. If you're interested in sports betting, talk to Kia. As always, man, always a pleasure doing the Sports PSP podcast. Please go check out the Undisputed Go podcast with the big fella BRF and of course Flash. Um can't wait for the NBA finals to be over so that hopefully we can have more discussions about the NBA draft, WNBA, more NFL stuff. Hopefully I want to hear what some exciting moves heading into training camp and of course college football, few months away from college football. So got to be on the lookout for that, man. But for the rest of the kids who are finishing school, hey, enjoy the rest of your summer. Please behave responsibly as well. Always listen to your parents. Parents always make sure you check an eye on your kids at all times. BRF, I know for a fact he's checking out on his daughter right now. I can hear the noise from the background, but that's fine. I mean, kids gonna be kids. There's nothing that you can do.
Hey, yeah, yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, they are her. That's her and my little niece. So long as they ain't wrecking the house.
Just make sure there ain't no dishes being broken. That's
Oh,
You
oh,
know,
trust
like
me.
like on Tom and Jerry.
yeah.
Like on Tom and Jerry.
That's one thing that's one thing I'm definitely not gonna have to worry about. Cause yeah, let me boy.
Keep him out of Mama's China cabinet.
Mm,
Um.
exactly.
One last thing before I wrap up, a very serious situation. Obviously, the news regarding Carmelo Anthony being sentenced to 35 years in prison. All I'm gonna say is with young black people is this: just be careful with what you do. Be careful with what you do because at the end of the day, you can't do what white people do. And obviously, things that's going on in this world. I mean, obviously, to me, it was no surprise that he was sentenced to 35 years. It's still a sad, unfortunate story because for a 17-year-old, now 19-year-old spending probably half of his life in prison,
Yeah,
just young black men, black people, just be careful with what you do because you know what the judicial system is held against you. You can't do what the white people do and think everything is going to be all good. I do also feel sorry for the family of Austin Metcalf because at the end of the day, they also have to live without Austin Metcalf. Honestly, it's just a tragedy, and I hope it's a learning lesson for everyone. Please be careful of what you do.
yeah,
Please be careful of what you do.
yeah.
But on that
Mixed
note,
emotions about that, but
yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It's controversial to say. I think if he would have got into the fight with that dude and he probably would have knocked him out and he would have hit the ground and he would have
I agree.
unfortunately
I agree.
passed away. If he wouldn't have had that weapon, I really think he probably would have had a chance to get off. But
Yeah.
but I
But
just I just
I'll
look at that dynamic with that weapon and say, damn, the minute that weapon came into play, that's when he lost everything.
I'll say this, but I'll say this though to Austin Metcalf's father. You. I saw that video
yeah,
that you put out. You absolutely know what you can do. and not just leave it at that.
But I hope it's a learning lesson for all of us. And just be careful of what you do,
Yeah.
always at all times. But on that note, everyone, enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Please stay safe. Like Big Fella said, drink responsibly. And we is out. Peace.